Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Thank you. My name is Diana Ding, and I'm the founder and CEO of Ding TV. We are the content and connection for global entrepreneurs. Thanks to Julia Xiao for inviting me to be your moderator today. It's my great honor to moderate this Tech Talk of SVCECE. So today we're going to discuss about the technology trend and opportunities and challenges. First of all, please join me to welcome the president of SVCECE, Ms. Julia Xiao, to the stage and say a few words.
Hello everyone, I'm Julia Xiao. I'm the president of SVCACA. So SVCACA stands for Silicon Valley Chinese American Computer and Commerce Association. SVCACA has been around in the tech community for almost 30 years. Originally, it's from computer-related companies from Taiwan. Now we open to the high-tech and non-high-tech business owner. So this is our history. Also, our mission of SVCACA is to increase SVCACA reputation as well as enhance members' business opportunity. To achieve our mission, we have two ways to do it. Externally, we have engaged community events and networking with other associations. Internally, that we have organized regular activity, and then we have strengthened our business owner and our members' networking and participation. So you will see, last year, we have about total 14 activities. So roughly, just one a month. We organized a 1,500 audience seminar, Find Yourself on the World Map, conducted by Stanley Ye. We call the godfather of hotel management from Taiwan. We also organized a business summit by Utah Governor Gary Hubert. As well as that we also have a charity concert, benefits FCSN, Friends of Children of Special Needs Foundation. Not only that, we also have a fun part. We have a Christmas party, we have a Japan and Taiwan charity trips. Also, we have a celebration of a Chinese New Year dinner banquet. And we just did it last month. We have Napa Valley winery trip. So come to today's Tech Talk. This is one of the signature event of the year. And I'm very proud of this. So we put everybody's effort to put together all this wonderful Tech Talk event. Upcoming event that we have a hiking and dinner. So it's a members association in Saratoga. So you can see our Silicon Valley event, our members, not only we are very successful business owner, but also we contribute lots of the goodwill to the community. Most importantly, we have fun hanging out together. So, first of all, I still thank you very much for coming to today's Tech Talk, but I hope that you be our member of our SVCACA family soon. Thanks again for coming. Thank you.
Julia is really a remarkable, not only a successful businesswoman, but also a very active community leader. So let's give our hands to her to putting this together. Thank you. And I see among us there are a few important people I would like to recognize here. And we have Fremont City Council member, Mr. David Bonacorsi. Thank you for coming. Right there. And we have Fremont School Board and City Council candidates, Mr. Yang Shao, sitting here. Thank you. And we also have the president of Monty J, Dr. Li Minghu. Thank you. Next, we would like to invite Mr. Ma Zhongling, the Director General of Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in San Francisco, to say a few words. Let's welcome Mr. Ma Zhongling on stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? Good. Thank you. Great. It's really great to be here with you. I want to start out by thanking the President Julia Xiao of the Silicon Valley Chinese American Computer and Commerce Association for organizing this great event and inviting me here to let me have this opportunity to express my the appreciation and admiration to all our business and high-tech leaders here today for what you have done in strengthening the collaboration between Silicon Valley and Taiwan. As you may know, Taiwan has been making huge efforts to build a relationship with Silicon Valley over the past decades. There is so much we can learn from and collaborate on with Silicon Valley. So the organizations like the SVCACA have played a very important role and contributed a lot in building this relationship. The SVCAC, just as mentioned by Julia, SVCACA was established for the purpose of enhancing its members' business opportunity and success in the United States. Today, under the hard work and the dedication, there are a lot of the outstanding the speakers and the panelists invited by the SVCACA to share their experience, expertise, and opinions on the issues of how the evolving the media landscape and AI technology is influencing our business and affecting our future. I believe all of you will find today's event very worthwhile. And here I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Delta Electronic America for providing such a beautiful venue for this event, and also for its long-term support to my office in enhancing the relationship between U.S. and Taiwan. And I wish today's Tech Talk great success, and each and every one of you good health, happiness, and success in your business endeavors. Thank you very much, and have a nice weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Director General, Mr. Ma. Thank you so much. And mention about this beautiful venue provided by Delta USA. We would like to invite Ruth Chow, the General Affairs Manager at Delta USA. And thank you so much for this wonderful place. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. Very nice words, Mr. Ma, for what we said about our building. This is a LEED Platinum first in Fremont, and it's the 21st green building of Delta Group. So I'm Ruth, I'm with Delta Electronics Americas, and we thank you for saying our name correctly. As of March 1st, we changed from Delta Products Corporation to Delta Electronics Americas to be in line with our Delta Group naming rules. So this building was completed in 2015, and that's when we moved in. As I mentioned, LEED Platinum, that's the greenest of green buildings. It incorporates many of Delta's own products in this building to achieve the LEED Platinum status. So we're very happy and honored to be the host of this event. And thank you, Julia. And I hope everyone enjoys the afternoon agenda and the very exciting TED Talks as the panelists. It was very impressive. So I wish everyone a good afternoon and enjoy. Thanks.
Thank you, Liz. I noticed that this building is round. It's really the very modern buildings. So beautiful. So next, we're going to start with our Tech Talk. First forum is going to be how Amazon, Facebook, Google, WeChat, and more affect your business. We're going to invite the first keynote speaker, David Zhang, to the stage. And here's a little bit about David. David Zhang is the Chief Strategy Officer of WinTech and a member of the board of WinTech. Before this, David served as the Vice President of the Retail Division, which he turned the business to scalable model. David also served as Vice President of Operations, in which he oversaw the logistic and operation. And David is also the Vice Chairman of Monte. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome David Zhang.
Thank you, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here today, to be in front of this SVCACA organization and this Tech Talk today. I want to first thank the SVCACA team. I know there's a ton of volunteers that are here to make this activity happen. It's a ton of work, and it's really hard, and it's a lot of time out of our day-to-day job. So thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. So WinTech Industry is a multi-global corporation. We have three main business units. We have a manufacturing arm, a supply chain arm, and an e-commerce infrastructure arm. 14 locations worldwide and about 650 million revenues worldwide. Founded in 1988 by my mother and father. So a family business, a really fun opportunity here. My name is David. I am the Chief Strategy Officer, and I run the long-term planning of this business. And I'm very excited to talk about something a little differently today. Now, when I was asked to speak, it was about how do you grow the business to the next level? Like, what are you seeing? What are you looking at differently? How are you thinking differently? And how you continue to innovate? And what I thought was, I could say a lot of things here, but maybe that's not the most important. You could find a lot of new technologies online, but what I wanted to talk to you about was maybe a framework of how to think, of how to really reflect on what we're good and what we're bad at. Because no matter what we do, whether you're growing your business from 1 million to 10 million to 500 million to $1 billion, at every single stage, we're missing things. We're completely missing things. Whether it's a leadership transition at a family business, or whether it's getting your MBA, or whether it's getting your first job. Every single step we have blind spots. So look at this guy on the side. He's climbing a ladder, climbing a wall, trying to get to the next level. But he might not see everything. That's a fact. What else do we know? We know that over time, we get smarter and smarter and smarter. We accumulate domain knowledge. So here's an example of an engineer. When he first starts off, he He gets a bachelor's degree. You then get a PhD, eventually you move up, you become a VP of engineering. You get better and better at making your own decisions within your own domain. But their friend in marketing, they're growing in a different direction. They're learning things in a very, very different space. And at the very end, they're going to be a domain expert in somewhere else. That goes true for guys like Peter, who will be speaking later in venture capital. Hey, Peter. And what about your kids? They're getting really good at playing video games, right? But they're going to be better than you at video games all the time. And your friends in finance, they're going to be running those cash flows and FP&As faster and better than you all day long. Now, why is that important? It's important because if you look at all these bubbles, we all have blind spots. Doesn't matter who you are, we all have blind spots. There's things and ideas that we can't even comprehend because we are not experts in it. We're just not. And these gaps create a barrier for us. We can't see better. We make poor macro decisions. Because why? We only see what we want to see. We only hear what we want to hear. And because of this, it hurts us. It prevents us from scaling and growing. Let's play a little game. Quick game. Who here, raise your hand. Who here has an internet connection at home? Raise your hands. If you're not raising your hand, you're probably lying to me. Okay? Number 2, who has a cell phone connection? All right, we all have cell phone connections. Let's play a game. What if I said, I will pay you $100 a month, but you can never use your internet connection or cell phone again? How many would take the deal? Raise your hands. Anyone? Oh, come on. All right. Let's raise it. $500 a month. Anyone? 1,000. Do I have any takers? $1,000 a month. No more internet, no more cell phone. 10,000. How many hands? Anyone? Few hands now. Few hands. That's right. 50,000. Who's going to take the deal? All right. Take a snapshot. Look at who's raising their hands and who's not. This is important. Blind spots. AT&T and Comcast, they're undercharging us. They're undercharged because we're all willing to pay more. We will pay more because if you think about it in a different lens, we wouldn't take the deal for $100. They could be charging us $500 a month and we'd pay all day long. Second thing, I kind of know all your salary levels now. How much money do you make? That's another blind spot. I asked you a question, but you didn't know why I was asking. I kind of know the income levels across the board now. Lastly, I told everyone to take a little quick snapshot at the people who did and didn't raise their hands. Who's a startup founder here? Raise your hands. Anyone? Startup founder? CEO? The people that didn't raise their hands, that's where you can find your next series of funding, because they have way too much money. Right? Blind spots. We all have blind spots. You have no idea what you're hearing. You have no idea why a message is being given to you. We all have blind spots. So, back to this. What does this all mean? Like, how do we bring this all together? So, as we climb to that next level, we all have blind spots. And even within this picture of the person climbing up to the next level, what if it's from a different picture? So this is a story of the 5 blind men and the elephant. Every single person on this page is showing you that they're blind in some way, some shape, some form. So the guy that we saw climb to the next level, he thinks that he's touching a wall. The guy grabbing the trunk, he thinks he's grabbing a hose. The guy grabbing the tail thinks he's grabbing a rope. Everyone is a blind spot. So the question is, which blind man are we? So we all have blind spots. So what now? What now? The fact is this. First off, we all have blind spots. We know this to be true, to be correct. We all have blind spots. Secondarily, we need help finding our blind spots. The definition of blind spots is you can't even see it. So don't tell me that you can solve this yourself. That's a lie. Or you're not being honest with yourself. It's impossible to see your own blind spots. 3, we can create a community of different experts to help us see our blind spots. Look at what we have here today. We have a community of experts from real estate to venture capital to politics to logistics companies to technologists. We don't need to do this alone. This is why organizations like SBCACA are so important. It brings the community together so we can work together, so we don't need to do this by ourselves. So team, partner, collaborate. That's the purpose. That's how we get to the next level. It's not by doing it by ourselves. It's not about learning by ourselves. It's working with one another. In Chinese, there's a saying. It's called... It's not called anything right now. It's called... It's called 团结就是力量. Right? 团结就是力量. But as a community, we oftentimes forget that saying. We forget that 团结就是力量. We need to work with each other. We need to help each other to grow, to become stronger. It's incredibly important. And so when you look at our business and ask, how are we seeing past the next level? We're working with other people. We're partnering with other people. We're partnering with other communities. Not just the Chinese community, but also the Indian community, the Caucasian community. It's with the marketing communities. It's with all the different communities that historically we've never worked with before. We're bringing different ideas and different talent to bear so we can do better. So, thank you very much. I really appreciate being here. We at WinTech are very willing to partner, and we're open to partnership. So my email is here. If you would like to reach out and find an opportunity to work together, I'd love to work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. 团结就是力量. We all have blind spots, so we need to work together and help each other. This is the whole world. So our next speaker is going to be Johnson Jen. Johnson is a founder at StartPack.co and other two companies, who is a brand and a marketing specialist. A Silicon Valley accelerator, Johnson has helped raise more than 20 million on crowdfunding and helped launch more than 60 products globally. Johnson currently advises startups on growth hacking, scaling, product designing, and manufacturing. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Johnson Jen.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Johnson. I run a company called StartPack. Basically, help small companies scale to larger companies, to hopefully larger companies. I am kind of like the master of magicians and smoke and mirrors and helping you change perception. Okay? So, I guess this doesn't work.
It works. It's your perception. That's
I know. There you go. Okay, so that's the topic, right? How Amazon, Facebook, Google, Instagram, YouTube, etc. affect your business. Perception. Okay. So what is perception and what is, whoa. Okay, so there you go. Okay, what is perception and what is social proof? Who here is on social media? Raise your hand, please. Oh, a lot of you guys. Who's not on social media, raise your hand. Oh, it's still a good number, okay? So what is social media and what is social proof, right? The psychological and the social effect where people assume the actions of others in an attempt to reflect correct behavior in a given situation, okay? Well, there you go. So if you're shopping for something today, where do you go? Do you guys anybody know?
Amazon.
Wow, you guys are pretty smart. Okay, so we go to Amazon, right? And what do you do when you look at Amazon.com, right? What's the number one thing you look at? Okay, Prime. Other reviews, right? Somebody said reviews, okay? So would you buy a product that has 5,800 reviews and 4.5 stars on a screen protector from a company that's not based in the United States and you don't really know who they are, or a large corporation like OtterBox, which 3 stars and 517 reviews? Not Prime, Prime, right? Doesn't matter if you're OtterBox, Google, or Apple, whoever, I'm gonna buy the first one. Why? Because it's Prime, right? Free shipping. It's 4.5-star reviews and 5,000 of them. Okay? So, this clicker's not working very good. So, when you're looking for food, where do you go? Oh, you guys know what you're doing. Okay, Yelp. All right. So, on Yelp, what do you look at? I want to go to a steakhouse, right? Let's just take addresses and distance away for a bit, but you want to go here for 4 stars, or Claim Jumper for 3 stars, or Texas Roadhouse with 2,000 something reviews and 4 stars. Most likely I'll probably go to Texas Roadhouse, but obviously, these are all within 10-15 minute drives, right? So, lastly, if you are exploring new places, where would you go? Well, somebody said Facebook. Okay, so you probably go to Facebook. Why? Because if you're looking for a new service or a new place to go, you want to ask your friends. You want to say, hey, where is the best salon in San Francisco, right? And people will tell you, hey, we go to this place, et cetera, et cetera. You trust your friends to give you the right location, the right places. Okay, so social proof will affect business. How? Now, let's just say I saw an ad, right? This ad is a cat with a tissue dispenser. Okay, coming out of the butt, right? So this video here has 42 million views, 442,000 shares. Okay, you click the link on the very top from the mall. It takes you to a place to sell a product for $29.99 or $95. Okay, but in reality, when you go to Alibaba, you can buy this thing for like $5. Okay, so when you get 42 million views, let's just say there's a 1% conversion. 1% conversion of people that actually buy this item. How much money did you just make? And people made that shopping decision based on, wow, this video has 42 million views, there's so many comments and likes and all these things, right? So, people want to be cool, right? In the United States, everybody wants to be cool. All the world, everyone wants to be cool. So companies like Beats, okay, they hire people to promote their items, regardless if this is good or bad. As long as they're getting paid, they're going to do it. Okay? $1 million for a Facebook post, $1 million for an Instagram post, no problem. Okay? They'll do it because why? They may or may not be the best earphones or the crappiest earphones in the market. It doesn't matter. If my idol is wearing it, I want to be like him. Okay? I'm going to buy the Beats headphones. Okay? But a lot of times and sometimes it's not real. Right? Perception. Okay? Wow, this restaurant serves really, really, really hot and smoky, charcoal shrimp here. But in reality, it looks like that. Okay? So you can be a dog walker and you're like, I am the best pet sitter in the world. Okay? I have award-winning pet sitters, or pets, right? And I win awards. And this is my marketing ad, right? But in reality, it looks like that. Okay? Perception. It's kind of like how David said, the whole elephant with blind spots, right? Same thing. Okay? And in digital media, these all can be faked. So, despite all the social proof, it's all manipulated. Okay? How is it manipulated? Amazon rankings and reviews can be manipulated. Okay? One of our divisions, our company, basically helps companies launch products on Amazon and make them the #1 ranking in their category. And I can almost guarantee that, okay? This depends on your competitors and et cetera, but we can get you to #1. How? Manipulation. Okay, we can manipulate it. Yelp's negative reviews can be removed. This is when Yelp calls you and say, hey, if you want to pay us for $300 a month, we'll help you take care of those reviews for you. So they can be removed, okay? Instagram and Facebook posts can be sponsored. What do you think by sponsored? If somebody says, hey, I'm going to pay you $250,000 a month or a year, make one picture, one post every week or every month promoting my item, will you do it? If I'm like, sure, if it aligns myself with this brand and I use it, I'll do it, right? Because at the end, you will never know the truth behind a good product or a good service. You don't know where you're buying. Because everything is, I don't want to say everything is fake, but everything can be manipulated. It can misdirect you, okay? So how do you combat this perception, okay? Associate your brand and product, okay, with the correct way, okay, and make sure you have a good product or service. You cannot have a broken car and try to sell a really nice car. Okay, it has to be a good product from the very beginning. Okay? Create a visually stunning presence. Get professional third-party validation. Then grow it with social once you have a top 3. Okay? So I'll give you an example. I have a client that came to me and said, hey, we make a door lock. It's called Pinji. This is our website. And I said, you guys can't sell. He's like, why? I'm like, because your website is all over the place. So we took that and we rebranded the company, called it Lockly, and make it a lot more cleaner, right? Same thing, this is the product page, right? Well, we're gonna sell a bunch of it with this. I'm like, no, you're not. No one's gonna read all this information, right? We take that and we rebrand to that, okay? Validation. If you're a product and service, you call maybe consumer electronics, maybe you call CNET, right? If you're a business professional, product services or financial, maybe you call Forbes, right? If you're a restaurant, maybe you get the Michelin star. Okay, these people are third-party validation that can help you. So this is the social media guy, right? 15,000 likes. She's a social media person talking about Microsoft 365. And guess what? A lot of likes. YouTube. This is one of the largest consumer electronics YouTube guys. Okay, he has 10 million followers. He posts a video, right, talking about the world's biggest Fortnite gaming setup. Talks about the televisions used, the video cards used, etc., etc. 2.5 million views in less than 2 days. You can't get that on Billboard, okay? It's impossible, okay? And guaranteed by 5 days or 10 days, this is going to be a much larger number. So how do you invest in perception, whether you want to invest in it, okay? Time and money, or money, right? Make sure you're confident in your product and service. Create a controlled perception, okay? I sold more than 50 cars in the last few years, and I'm not a car salesman. Why? Because of me posting cars. People are asking me, hey, where do I buy this car? You know, can you refer me to someone who can sell this car, etc. I referred a good number of people to do loans and insurance based on referrals, okay? People talk, good and bad, right? You want to control the bad, and you want to promote the good. Is your business on Instagram, Facebook, Yelp, and LinkedIn, and YouTube? If it's not, you should, okay? If you already are, grow it, because that's going to help you change the way you sell products and services. That's my name, Justin Jin. My email is jjane@startpad.co. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email. I can help you create your own perception of your service or product. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnson. Thank you. If you're not on social media, you should seriously consider that every business should be on social media. I totally agree with that. Next is going to be a panel discussion. And first of all, I would like to invite our moderator for this panel, and that is Mr. Peter Xie. And yes, Peter, please. Peter is the general partner of Acorn Pacific Ventures, and one of the few venture capitalists, has more than 10 years of direct venture capital experience in Silicon Valley, and another 10 years of the same in China. He's also the vice president of Monty Jade. So Peter, please come to the stage and introduce your panelists.
Welcome, all the panelists, please come up. I would like you to introduce yourself rather than me being the boring guy. Please, we have David Johnson and Vincent Sheena. David and Johnson had already made a very nice speech. I would prefer Sheena and Vince to be care to spend 1 minute to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Sheena Chang. I guess I'm the only one on SBCACA. I'm probably a very long time member of SBCACA. I'm a founder of a company that sells real product. Symantec is a brand that has been selling to many distributors and resellers across the United States for the past 20 years.
That's great. Real product, right? Yeah.
My products are real too. Service is a product.
Johnson, we all know it's all in your perception. Right? Yeah, Vince, please.
Hi, my name is Vince. I sell physical products. My products are real too. I think so, right? Majorly, I'm known for doing Facebook ads very well and using ads to drive traffic to an e-commerce site where I sell products. And I have multiple stores that are known as drop shipping. And yeah, that's about it.
Very nice. So I was actually very intrigued by the two previous keynote speakers' speech. It actually, to me, represents two extremes in the law of thermodynamics. Anyone know thermodynamics here? Yeah. Okay. Anyone knows a Chinese term called 嫁出去的媳妇泼出去的水? That's a term that I don't agree with, but it's a term that we all grew up with, right? What that means is, in thermodynamics, there's something called entropy, 叫做最大的乱度。东西一到了最乱的时候呢 then it's really hard to recollect them. In order to keep orders in an organization or any physical world requires a lot of energy. Remember what David said, it's partner collaboration and team, right? These take a lot of energy. But incidentally, David looks, every time when I see him, he looks very energetic and keeps all his spirits up. So he has unlimited energy to keep his team together, partner together, and collaborate with people. Well, not your turn yet. Johnson is a master smoke and mirror creator that is creating entropy that's uncontrollable in a controllable manner. So these are actually two extremes in the physics world. I'm an engineer and study physics. So I think this panel, also on the other hand, you can see Julia carefully picked the panelists. We have Sheena and I, who look slightly senior, probably 2 years older than us. Sheena, I know I'm older than you are, right? Yeah. And the other are more of a younger generation.
No, both of them, their age altogether is still younger than mine.
Wow. Okay, the trick is actually a really good makeup, so you know. Okay, now before that, I see our chairman of Monty J. Li Ming, would you mind spending 1 minute talk about our annual event? Because heavily we're sponsoring SBCAC. I hope Julia doesn't mind. We have 2 vice chairs up here and 1 chairperson down there. Maybe Li can do one 1 minute broadcast about our annual event. Sorry about that, but I do this for this 1 minute.
He's supposed to do that. Okay, so my 1 minute would run just more like 5 minutes. So in a few weeks, on the May 20th, we have another event from Monty. We're going to do it in the Marriott, in the Cupertino, Main Street. And our topic is really that we're going to embrace the new world. Okay, we're going to look into artificial intelligence, blockchain, and all kind of new technology. We have a lot of very interesting speakers, and also in the evening we have a mix. We're going to host at the Senda Steakhouse, so it will be a very interesting event. I think I take out enough time already, so hope that everyone can go to www.montyj.org, and hope that you can all. I'd like to see all of you in a few weeks. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We need to go to 45 seconds, so that was great. So I would like to start with Sheena. Listening to these people that you probably have not helped them change diapers, but you know them, and what do you think about their value proposition here?
I think very inspiring because I did my due diligence before I come to this event because SBCACA is the hosting organization. By reading their story, it's very, very interesting, and looking at their presentation, it's another eye-opening experience.
Intriguing, interesting, eye-opening. These are not real. Could you give me something that's more real?
However,
yes. My company has been selling product through the
for the past 20 years, there wasn't Amazon. So we went through a distribution channel and sell to all the chain stores. And about 15 years ago, we see the distributor and the reseller revenue start declining. And we got this inquiry, which is from Amazon. So they like to invite us to be their vendor, to join their vendor central. So we start to wait, should we sell this because that is going to offend, our reseller will be unhappy. So we did some due diligence, and thanks to the SBCACA member, because we have a group of people that in the same business, so we share idea, and then just like everybody have the blind spot, so we also have that. So we sit down and talk about how we can work together. So we realize that's a trend. We just need to take that opportunity and move forward. So our product was put on the Amazon, of course, and after a few years, we realized selling on Amazon actually it's a different animal. First of all, that's a very good channel, and also bring our product to globally, not just to United States.
Which year was that? Globally.
Michael, which year was that?
I forgot.
No, we have an inquiry it just gradually happened. We have inquiry from Germany, from Paris,
UK.
even from Singapore. UK too. So that's something that which benefit from different from before. And secondly, we also found a lot of vendors, they start to put their product on Amazon. So that means before we only have 10 distributors, but now we have thousands of listings on the Amazon. So we really need to work very hard to get ourselves to be noticed. So we have a dedicated team. Michael is here. Probably he can talk on behalf of me because he's the one.
Next time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I already, Anyway, so he has to really watch the, get the right listing price, and then he need to monitor all the reviews, monitor all the inventory, but at the same time, we continue to see other distributors, going down. Of course, now we still decide on Amazon because we know eventually Amazon is going to find their own product. And the other thing is that they never look for profit. That's very dangerous. So we also look for other online opportunity, also the offline stores.
Sure, I think there are several industry driving forces at the time. I vividly remember in 1998, there is this slogan called sub $1,000 DC. That's one thing. Second thing, when you mentioned Amazon doesn't have they don't want to make money. I remember when they went public, their gross margin was around 12 or 13%. But in 2 or 3 years, Amazon became profitable, surprisingly, where their gross margin, I remember, grew to 23%. While at the same time, nowadays we all know there are a lot of things that are Amazon branded. These are retailers' typical game because they have volume, they want to increase their gross margin, cutting through the middleman, right? And what do you see, maybe I should wait this for after Vince gives his pitch. Where is exactly the true value creation that you see Amazon either to themselves or to you or to the consumer? Every time I talk about a successful company, I always say, is the CEO making money? Is the public market investor making money? Is the consumer making money? Or is the distributor or the supplier making money? These are different aspects. So, care to mention, in this case, who do you think is making Amazon a good company? Who is he benefiting for?
I think the consumer.
Consumer only, right? Okay, so pitch the value proposition to the consumer first, and later on, eventually you may win, right? Vince, you are a guru in Facebook, right? What do you think? How much are you helping your clients to grow their business? And if you compare your skill set versus smoke and mirror magician over there. Who is Johnson? You're invisible. How do you see the value creation between the two of you?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I'll start with the first
Please.
client work. So before I started doing ads for myself, I used to do client services. So I'd run ads for hairdressers, just basically anything I could find. And I'd charge them a monthly retainer.
Is that typical mom and pop shop?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that has the physical presence.
Yeah, so like after high school ended, I would just go out and go around my neighborhood, just like literally go door to door and just see what people would think about my services and stuff like that. So I did that for a long time, and then I realized I was making these people a lot of money, and then I transitioned into running advertising for my own product, a real product, and that the business model that I started was dropshipping basically, and it completely instead of making $200 per client or $500 per client, you can make all that and more, and it really revolutionized my business. So and for the smoke and mirrors and ads, I'd say both really they come together very, very well. You have to have the smoke and mirrors to have a good effect on the direct response marketing part of it, because you can't. So, for example, if we're trying to sell a T-shirt, I need the smoke and mirrors to give the perception of value.
Now, I'm a venture capitalist.
Yeah.
I want to stop you.
Yeah.
Our philosophy of doing investments is always, if you only have $1, which company are you going to put your money in? A company or B company?
Yeah.
Now, as an operator, Sheena or David, if you only have $1 to spend, who are you going to put your money in? Can you, I want you guys to think about it, but Vince, continue your logic here.
Yeah, well, you're asking me if I only have $1?
No, I'm asking them to think about it. I'm giving them 3 minutes to think about it. We'll come back to them.
Okay, yeah, but I think that, I think he has to start the job and I finish it. So I go for the kill, but he sharpens the knife. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Very political answer, but it's okay. David, you're trying to grab the microphone.
I am. I like to talk, so that's my problem.
No problem.
So I think to answer your question, I think it's dependent on the value proposition of your business. So depending on when someone would use a Johnson versus a Vince, I think it's dependent on where do you actually see your domain strength. I think if you look at kind of Amazon at a macro lens, what are they doing? They're driving, their core value prop is really making the consumer happy. So making the consumer happy on one end, on the other end, it's CapEx. So capital investments, more warehouses, larger and larger data centers to create a massive moat that no one can actually touch. So with the advent of Amazon, the middleman goes away. So ultimately, if you don't have a touch with the consumer, if you don't have the ability to produce a good, you're going to get disintermediated. So if you look at kind of what happened in the retail space, with Walmart launching and crushing all the middlemen in terms of mom and pop shops, this is what's happening online. So I think it depends on, do you understand the consumer better, or do you understand the ability to manufacture better? So that's my answer.
David, you keep on talking about the term consumer rather than customer. Why is that?
No specific reason. I see that as the ultimate consumption point. So the consumer or customer, whoever that is, I see that as the final consumer.
Got it. So in my house, the consumer is my wife, not me.
It's the decision, right?
Anyway, let's come back to Sheena. When you talk about you only investing in real stuff, maybe before you talk about real, care to address my question and that David tried to answer, and also how you transition your business. I think that's actually very interesting. If you only have $1,
Yes.
I know you have way more than that.
$2. I think David has mentioned something that really, that's what we have been trying to transform our business. It's the direct customer experience. I think, like you said, whatever business will touch the consumer, even the retail store. you know, I do real estate investment. I do multi-family, I do shopping center, I invest in industrial building, and I can see the shopping center is declining, but industrial building is increasing because the logistics and the fulfillment is a growing industry. And so I think the major investment is really at the shopper's experience. Even the store, I truly believe, I still will go to the store to shop. But what kind of store will last? Not those stores, they go sell, clearance, because you cannot compete with Amazon. But then for other stores, continue to grow their shoppers' experience. For example, quicker checkout. I know Walmart, they invest tons of money, to get the quicker checkout, and also the mobile experience in for example, it's difficult to buy grocery online. So which grocery will really, if I'm a landlord, I have a couple, for example, a grocery store trying to lease my space. So I need to look what kind of model they're in. Are they trying to reinvest in the shopper's experience? And we are doing the same thing. Our Vantech, right now we start to explore eBay and even Walmart and other. We also select the retail store that we like to work with based on whether they have invested on this customer experience.
Right, very, very good answer. But I would also like to ask Johnson to give some comments. Previously, our other panelists all talk about if I use it correctly or paraphrase correctly, get rid of middlemen so that you know your customers better, right? I want Johnson, you to comment a little bit about this perception, because you go to all these trade shows, there are all these local distributors that Sheena, you probably are very familiar with, right? They are European kings, they are maybe a king in Tanzania, and you don't get to know the customers there directly, but you have to go to local kings. In all these perceptions creation, I actually kind of disagree with them. I think what you want to get to know is your customer rather than the consumer. Because sometimes a customer may not necessarily be the final end decision maker, but the customer knows the local market much better than you are, and you only have limited resource or bandwidth to accomplish that. So in the world of smoke and mirror, if you are creating value proposition, Johnson, who do you tailor to? To the middleman or direct consumer or whatever?
So this is kind of mixed answer.
Yes.
It kind of goes back to the whole $1 thing, right?
Yes.
If I want to apply it to real corporations, real products, real companies out there, it's kind of saying, do you want to hire a marketing director or do you want to hire a marketing person?
Yeah.
Or not agency, a person, right?
Person, okay.
So it's the same thing as this, right? Picasso or Van Gogh can spend a day painting and it looks like a child's art, but he can sell it for millions and millions of dollars, right? The same person can replicate the exact same painting, but can sell for only $10. Why, right? It's also the skill set, right? So the smoke and mirrors, not everybody can create, okay? But Facebook advertising, everybody can learn. That's very important, okay? Because you can hire any Facebook advertiser in the world, the top agencies, right? And hire that person. But you can hire a different agency or a different person for the smoke and mirrors effect, which is the marketing director, right? And that person's skill set, even though they all went to the same college, the same thing, the creativity of that person is different, okay? So talking about Amazon Express Checkouts or Shopify, or not Shopify, Walmart, right? That person needs to be the first person to say, we're gonna go completely, express checkout or mobile checkout, right? He doesn't know how to implement it. But he has to come up with the idea first of we're going to do it because that's what consumers or customers want, right? But then you hire the team, the people that do the engineering coding to do it. This is why app designers and app coders can't launch their own apps and make billions of dollars. But app CEOs that don't know how to code can create the concept and hire people to raise money from venture capital to implement those, right? So it's really mixed because at the end of the day, it's actually knowing both, right, the consumer and the customer. And the person like me, the guy that says, this is how you should sell your house, or this is how you should acquire back for yourself, it takes a lot of time to really come up with a plan, a strategy to set up the smoke and mirrors. Because at the end of the day, either the magic show is either going to go through and the vision makes sense, or someone's going to see the wire hanging while you're levitating. And it just really depends on where you sit. Okay? So, going back to the whole $1 thing, I really say you should split it. It's not about spending $1 on each specific agency or person. It's leveraging what your product and service is and split 70 cents here, 30 cents here, or 50-50.
Now, that's a very good answer. I want to switch topic a little bit about cutting out the middleman. I think a lot of people here are distributors or retailers and are suppliers. And in the traditional world, there are always these things called channel conflict. If you cut through the middleman, then sometimes you're touching your consumers or customers directly, but somehow they actually know it better and they actually have more control over the behavior of their customer. David, would you care to describe in your business, if you have thought about or actually have already done that, cutting out the middleman, what's the proper strategy that you have taken? Because the pricing may be different and a lot of different interesting things will happen. And Johnson, I would like you to comment later about, hey, Amazon has their own product, and Sheena, you can comment about these too, please.
So Peter, that's a fantastic question. I think there's multiple lenses to look at this problem
Sure.
in terms of value of a channel. So if you look at kind of a value of a channel, I think if you look at the macro level versus the micro level, you would have different answers. So at the macro level, you look at the entire industry, there's probably going to be a larger winner. And if you go down to the micro level where there's specific use cases or value propositions that people are offering, there's going to be a different answer. So different regions, hypothetically speaking, for a European market in a small city that's very closely run with like a lot of mom and pops, you might have a different strategy than at a macro level where it's all of Europe, where you would have someone like Amazon. So the answer to that is I think every single business needs to really understand what value are they really bringing into the entire value chain itself. So if your value as a middleman or a distributor is arbitrage.
But value is two-faced, right? One to your supplier, the other to your customer. Care to elaborate a little bit?
So instead of the specific value for supplier to customer, I like to look at the entire value chain itself. So from the raw materials all the way down to the consumption point, which could be a customer. Within every single intermediary layer, there's actually suppliers and customers, supplier and customer at every single stage. At a very macro level, certain industries completely get decimated because of macro movements. So understanding the macro is very important to your value proposition within the micro. So example is a lot of the people in this room here probably experienced the PC boom of the 90s. Wow, heydays, everyone was making money, it was fantastic. But as the market matured and guys like Dell and HP came in, the entire market disappeared for a lot of the small guys. So I think it really depends on what value you're at. Who's left these days? The guys really adding value in terms of service providing potentially to a data center or a corporate environment. And even at that level, as cloud computing comes in, with OCP really driving standardization and commoditization of servers, you're going to get disintermediated over a course of time if that continues to scale. So I don't know if there's a right answer to that, I guess. There's a way to think about it, I guess.
The world is really great. Lots of smoke and mirrors, and there's no right answer. Coming back, Johnson, what do you think about this?
Again, this doesn't apply to just products. A distributor can be like, let's say you're franchising a restaurant.
Yes.
Right. So again, Sheena, right, can do real estate in Thailand, right? And somebody there would be like, this is great real estate opportunity, and it's really cheap and make a lot of money. But Sheena may or may not know nothing about Thailand, right? So she probably needs to find a broker or real estate investor in Thailand to understand the market. Okay. So going back to David, there is no right or wrong answer because it really depends on what industry you're in. Okay, restaurants, same way, right? I didn't know that there was a lot of Asian people living in specific, Kentucky or whatever, but there's a lot of people there. So if I said, hey, I'm going to go to Kentucky to try Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'm like, no, in this specific town, we're all eating noodles or something, right? So there's no way of knowing if we're actually physically there, and that's the answer of distributors. Okay, like when you're going direct to consumer, you're creating value because what is the end value? Are you trying to create value for your customers to find better, cheaper products, or do you want to make more margins? Right? Because cutting out the middleman equates a lot of things. You're creating more margins for yourself, okay? But in the larger picture, you're losing these distributors one by one. So what if the industry changes again in the next 5 years or 10 years, okay? You may be selling $10 million a year on physical products, right? While maybe distributors are selling 15 million, but you're making less money on 15 million. But at the end of the day, what if somebody like Amazon comes in and be like, oh, I see you sell $10 million on, this cables, right? And Amazon's, you know what? We're not going to make any money. So they're going to make the exact same cable, drop hundreds of millions of dollars to do advertising. All of a sudden they do $100 million and you're screwed, right? So if you put all your eggs in one basket, right? But through the distributor system, you're in multiple countries or multiple locations, you're tapping into multiple distribution channels, right? And at the end, if Amazon comes in, it doesn't matter because maybe you have a physical store in Singapore or something, and that distributor is selling a lot of that item, right? So going back to the answer, there is no right or wrong. It really depends on how you want to position yourself.
This is a great answer. I would like to direct another question to Vince. Vince, how you acquired your business is actually a step at a time through little mom and pops. But the way you help them reach customer is actually in a more scalable thing. While your own personal business initially is a non-scalable acquisition model. So now that you live in this conflict of the two different worlds for your own business versus also for your customers, how do you see that? Have you ever thought about changing your own business to scalable, or you believe from your experience you can never escape real world step-by-step, non-scalable part, while you need to embrace the new world? Can you maybe talk about that?
So you're saying that dropshipping is like equal
No,
purpose, or
what I'm saying is initially when you acquire this restaurant, this barber shop as your customer, you have to knock on their door and make cold calls. That's the non-scalable part, right?
there's definitely ways to scale it. If you can
Do you still do that, or you don't?
Well, I stopped doing it because the ROI on time, as you said, is not it's not that great unless you hire a team of salespeople. And
Will they be as good as you?
Maybe, who knows? They might be better than me, who knows? But yeah, really the movement is towards now Helium. We're doing a phone case, and that's really what I'm trying to scale right now. It's moving from just doing consulting people, talking to people, setting meetings, and it's just not, as you said, it's not scalable. And there's only the only way to really make a lot with that is increase the value of your time. And there's only a cap to that, and I don't want to be meeting 15 people a day, for the rest of my life. So so that's where the other e-commerce business come in.
I see. David, what do you think? Do you meet your customers?
Yes, of course. So you got to talk to the customer. You got to add value to the specific customer. I think when you think about this problem set of how do you scale an idea, again, I always go back to the whole value.
The two things, because we know each other so well, so I can interrupt you. Feel not feeling guilty, right?
So we know each other.
There's one thing about getting to know your customer. The second thing is to impress your customer such that he pulls out his credit card or checkbook or PayPal account or whatever the new payment system might be, right? So two things, right? Let them make their decision by impressing them, but also getting to know them so that you're selling the right stuff. Which one do you think is the more scalable part?
So you always need to understand your customer's pain point. If you're not solving a customer pain point, that's always going to be a problem. The second one is, what is the solution set that you're actually bringing to market? So, and then the following question is that problem set or that solution set actually scalable? So hypothetically speaking, if I identify a customer pain point, can I scale this to $1 billion business? The answer is
our topic has this WeChat, Facebook, Google related things. How much of your time on the, let's say you work 12 hours a day, I know you work way more than that, plus congratulations. Research. Thank you. Thank you. How much of your time do you spend on Facebook, Google, or WeChat trying to get to know your customer? a day?
So for our business, it's a little different. So we spend almost nothing. So on a day-to-day basis, we generally work with Fortune 100 enterprises, which has a very, very different value of customer segment and a very different customer base. So our customer base itself is an enterprise, and then it's a solution within the enterprise itself. We don't actually go down to the, most of the times we don't go down to the specific. And then
Do you think you will be able to spend $2, $1 on each one of them?
would I be able to spend dollars? I think in a smaller market, it depends on your customer size, right? So if your customer size is 100 companies versus millions of individuals, I think the spend and the resource deployment is going to be drastically different. So I might be spending more on salespeople and product development to support my customers and problems, as opposed to targeting a marketing solution that drives consumer awareness.
Meaning you are going to spend $0.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whoops. So customer and consumer are actually very different, right? The definition. Sheena, if you can talk about in your original business, right? You're still running that, and that's running very nicely. But you're also embracing another new business. In these two different line of businesses, care to describe the differences that you see and the similarity? And do you embrace the internet or the WeChat, Google, Facebook type of strategy? In either one of your very successful business.
I think for Vantech, I guess we talk a lot about how to, eliminating the middleman, right? But I still believe the middlemen still have the value to exist if the middlemen have the expertise, Selling phone case, maybe you don't really, need the sales expertise, but if you are buying a networking attached, drive or something, you need expertise. So that's the value. So we really need to focus on how to create our own value, so we can still continue to be a middleman. And same thing. In the real estate, on my real estate side, actually, it's also quite similar. I have couple retail store. They end up out of business because they're selling baby clothing, and then just based on sale, without any any value. But for like myself, if I want to buy a pair of good shoes, I won't go Amazon. I will go to the bookstore, rely on the sales recommendation. You want this pair for walking, that's the value. That's the value we will continue to shop at the regular store. And then also, you need a sense of a community, and also, like for example, we start to see some retail store they're putting a coffee shop inside. So husband can kill time there, and then the wife can spend as much money as they can.
That sounds familiar.
Where's your weapon?
You're getting there, don't worry.
So actually, I wanted to comment on that. So the social media and online presence has changed a lot in the past, I would say really the last 2 years. It's really skyrocketed, right? So, obviously you guys know Facebook and Zuckerberg is facing a lot of these things with privacy and all this content information, stuff like that. But Vince's category is not sustainable, and he knows that. And that's why Vince and I, we're launching our own brand, right? Because Vince approached me and says, hey, he wants to launch his own brand. Because the own brand is whether you're creating a value like Apple or not, right? You can create a value behind the brand, the vision behind the company, and continue to launch more products. And that's why companies like Vantech are continually successful, because you have a mission statement to create the best product or whatever is in the category, right? But however, what you don't see is that how powerful Facebook is, right? Because Facebook, if you're creating a network attached server, right? Let's say a network attached server for, let's just say a network attached server for hackers or whatever, right? A very specific category, okay? This can actually target a very specific category of demographics, okay? Male or female in the 25 to 35-year-old age that is in networking, that also likes to hack, that's like all the hackers, and that likes all the pages that your competitors are. And then he can run ads specifically only to that segment, okay? And that's why a lot of dropshippers like this can literally go from $0 to $1 million to $2 million a month, Okay? I know people that spend $1 million a day on Amazon. Because why? Every time they spend, not Amazon, sorry, on Facebook. Why? Because $1 million a day equates to $1.7 million of revenue with $700,000 of profit. And every day, the audience gets smaller because you're literally destroying the audience one by one. Okay? Again, if you're going to Vantech, let's just say you have a CPU fan, let's just assume, right? So you have a CPU fan, and your CPU fan costs you $1, maybe less than that, 25 cents, okay? So imagine if I ran an ad to everybody that buys PCs, okay? And I write, buy the newest CPU fan for free, but only pay $4.99 shipping and handling. So the value perception was, this item is free. I'm paying shipping and handling, which is like USPS, so it's not Vantech, right? So Vantech is actually giving this thing for free. So guess what? That acquisition is really cheap. It might be like 10 cents or 5 cents to acquire a customer because it's free, right? So you spend $100,000, you could probably sell, let's just say, 500 CPU fans, 500,000 CPU fans, okay? You might make $0. You're breaking even, right? You take $5 in patient, right? But what just happened? You just got 500,000 new customers and their emails and their information and their market data from Facebook. So guess what? You can take that 500,000 customers, send them an email blast, and be like, hey, 15% off of Vantech's new whatever cooling system case or networking cache servers. And guess what? If 500,000 emails goes out, and that's a 5% purchase. That's where your value of money comes back. So perception of value spent, right? It's the perception of, is it really worth giving away? Why would I ever give away a product for free? Doesn't matter, you're breaking even. Because if you, that's cutting out the middleman, you know? So again, it really depends on the product or the service you're selling and the perception of what you're providing. Because to a lot of customers, you're providing tremendous amount of value. Why? You're giving them a free CPU fan. Okay?
Absolutely. So I think it's about time that we're going to enter a Q&A session that should take place at 2:45 sharp. So I have 3 more minutes to make some comments about this fantastic panel. I would like to also show off some other physics knowledge here, if you don't mind. Or David, you used to be CEO of Intel. Let's use management to talk about things. In each managerial role, theoretically, you can manage probably 6 to 8 direct reports. Beyond that, you're out of bandwidth. But in the world of social networking, you touch customers massively. Hopefully, you gain some insights into these customers, and there are all these long tail theory or whatnot. But when you're trying to get to customers that are more enterprise driven, or each one takes up a certain huge percentage of your revenue, then the face-to-face meeting still needs to happen. But you, Mr. David Chen, being a Superman, can still handle so many customers at the same time. And maybe they take up 80% of your revenue. I do not know. So these are comments that I would like to make. When internet keeps on evolving, we embrace new world, things seem to be turning flat. But however, in order to write, for example, a life insurance policy, I would still like to look at Julia straight in her eyes to see, does she have integrity? Is she acting on my benefit? I think that is very, very important. So it seems to be turning flat, by a hierarchy will still take place eventually. So the world keeps on evolving. It's like a pendulum on both sides. And with this concluding remark, I would like to open the floor to some Q&A if you guys want to have some questions. Julia.
I have a question.
Okay, so again, thank you very much for coming to today's talk and sharing your experiences. But I have a very, very important observation for Vince. I want you to talk about your experiences. I know you are only 19 years old and you didn't go to college. So a lot of kids or friends or parents are asking about you. And can you share a little bit why you don't want to go to college, you want to start your own business?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good question. The day I told my mom I wasn't going to college, she cried for a week. Yeah, that was a really hard thing for my family to kind of understand, because they come from a very traditional Taiwanese background. My parents both grew up in Taiwan. They went through formal education, and they came here and they expected the same for me. And when I was growing up, I was always a weird kid. But I think a lot of things have changed. First thing is you can now learn anything you want to by typing it into Google. Like I learned how to run and operate a multi-million-dollar business online just from YouTube and Google. And that's literally it. I didn't have anything else. My parents didn't have any money. I literally just got a computer. I learned how to build that computer from YouTube, and then I used that computer to learn how to run a multi-million-dollar company. So like, it's pretty much it. I told my mom, like, hey, look, the opportunity is here, and I want to just take this opportunity. I don't want to spend 4 years of my life and, listen to a teacher, who may or may not know what's the best for me. Because like, it's a cookie cutter, And I think that I can learn it faster than most people because I have like the drive and the motivation and, to do it. So I think you have to really look at yourself and see if you're cut out for it, because I do see a lot of people wanting to do that, but they don't have the discipline to do it. But it really is just down to like, how bad you want it, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna cut it here real fast. His girlfriend's not here, so I'm gonna call her out. So the funny thing is, Amy, who's not here right now,
She's right there.
she is. Oh, she's in the back. Okay, well. So I'm gonna call you out. I think it's fine because I think your parents are gonna know anyways. Is that okay? Okay. So she was accepted to UC Berkeley. Okay. Amy's 18 years old. She was accepted to UC Berkeley on I think there's just maybe a scholarship or something, right? As well. The funny thing is, she has been hiding and living in LA in this house while telling her parents that I'm busy, I'm studying for a test, because these two have built a multi-million-dollar corporation at home, right, or in LA, and her parents still think that she goes to Berkeley.
That's completely true, 100%.
Yeah, so they actually came up here just to pack all the stuff from Berkeley yesterday, and everything is in their car.
As we speak right now, outside,
right?
There's
all her work stuff is in the car because she was actually going to get kicked out because I guess she didn't take any classes or anything, and she had like a bunch of money left over, so there's a bunch of food and drinks in the car because she had to spend the dorm food money or whatever, meal plans. So again, I don't know how her parents are going to treat her, or treat her later when they find out. But
maybe you can stop him anytime you don't want him to do it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, school, like you said, right? School is for some people, but not for everyone. If you're learning to be a doctor or an engineer, go to school, please, right? I want to make sure you read the books before you operate on me, right? You can't learn that from YouTube, okay? But for many other purposes or businesses, you can always go back to school. And that's the best thing about the United States, right? You always go back to school. So
I'm going to take the opposite side of that. So I don't agree. I think education is incredibly important. I think there's opportunity sets in terms of entrepreneurship to actually capture a market, and I think there's a timing for that. But the foundation, I think, of an educational system, it provides you frameworks to think by and live by. And I think there's a difference between what happens in the short duration versus the long duration and what your objectives are. So I think in a short objective in terms of capturing a specific market, like what you're doing right now, I think that's incredibly powerful. I do think there's still additional incremental value to be added by an educational framework, plus the network that is fostering creative intent. So that's my counterpoint.
Very nice.
you can always go back to school.
You can always go back, but not many people do. Even this is a very controversial topic, right? Because you look at Peter Thiel and what he actually kind of started to speak about is like, hey, I'll pay you $100,000 not to go to college, but you got to work under this like entrepreneurial framework. He's not saying education is not important. He's saying that there is value to be captured in a short duration of time that you can learn something different. And it is true, it's not for everyone, but I think it's still important that there's always a counterbalance in terms of this. There's never a right and wrong. There's a large gray area in the middle.
I think, I'll take the middle ground because I'm the moderator here. I think it doesn't matter whether you go to school or you don't go to school, but always keep a curious mind and keep on learning and reading. That's the most important. So I still read a lot. The most recent book I'm reading is a book called Measure What Matters, which was just published on Amazon probably 3 weeks ago, written by John Doerr, who is a famous venture capitalist. And when I bought the book, there was only one book review. But since it's written by John Doerr, as a minuscule venture capital, I have to read it. So keep on reading and reading and reading. And one book that particularly applies to Vince's case is this book I believe called Outlier, which talks about Bill Gates and all of those people. Yes, we all think he dropped out and did whatever he did, but Bill Gates had already spent more than $10,000 in computer programming before he dropped out. And then even as of today on the internet, we probably occasionally receive these emails saying that these are the 50 books that Bill Gates recommend people because he read them last year. So keep on learning and also keep on making friends. I can feel, Vince, that you're more of a computer person. Because I'm a venture capitalist, I read people every day. So get out in the networking session, meet more people. If you don't have a business card, try to memorize using whatever methodology you have. Try to get to know people. Yeah, that will be my and leading. Of course, my very senior chairman here wants to say something.
No. So the next question, right?
Yeah.
So before I go to the next question, I'd like to jump into the discussion here. Can I do that? Okay, I got a microphone here. So I think
that microphone.
I think it's going to college. I don't think the main thing right now is education. Okay, I think many people, successful people, doesn't matter in insurance, real estate, startup company, because if you're alone trying to build something, it's too difficult. You're going to have leadership. You're going to need to bring a lot of people together, and that's called, I think, EQ, or the people relationship or networking. So I think this is why you go to college. You need to meet with people. You have friends, and then also you have a lot of mentors, right? So these are all very important factors for you to be successful. Yes, you can learn everything from YouTube, but you need to learn from people. Now I'm going to answer my question. so my question is.
He is not a typical multi-generator.
My question is really that with Facebook, social media, I think the more important thing about this mediation is really that what's the people relationship? Because you do everything, you go to, I'm in the mortgage industry, people, you can search online for everything, but you really want to talk to people when you make really big decision, really something very complex. How does the people factor comes in?
Thank you. That's why we need to hold events like these, so we see each other, and there's going to be networking, but I'll let the panelists answer that. Yeah.
I'll take the first stab at that. I think this social media movement has created massive silos. So this idea of fragmentation is occurring at a more and more rapid basis. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the idea of fragmentation. The thesis on fragmentation is in 1950, there's only 4 TV shows: ABC, NBC, PBS, CBS. Right now, there's 4,000. You'll never go back. You'll never go back to 4. So the market is getting much more fragmented. That's occurring also with our community. So our community is becoming more and more fragmented because what social media is doing is it's only messaging you very, very specific information. So when I go on Facebook, I'm seeing something different than Vince, seeing something different than Peter. Everyone's seeing something different. So you're seeing and creating a polarization within our community. And it's harder and harder for us to communicate. This gap, this knowledge gap between people is expanding. And so I think there's actually going to be a reversal of this trend. I think at a certain point, you flash forward 5 and 10 years, I think people are going to start eliminating social media from their day-to-day activities because it's making us more sad. It's actually making us more depressed. I think this resurgence of community is going to be coming in the next 5, 10 years. That's my hypothesis.
I think he's right. There's just both right and wrong, right? And it can go both ways. Now, there's a lot of Instagram influencers have actually spoken out and saying that their life is fake. They're getting paid so much money to do all these things and their life is fake, right? I was previously in the mortgage business for a while, and I hate to admit this, but when I started off younger, I was one of the guys that sold the Washington Mutual option arms, right? So I didn't know any better because the guy that's telling me this, you can make so much money, right? So what is the value proposition, right? So the customer's saying, oh my God, I only got to pay minimum payment, right? So that they think they're saving a lot of money, but they're not. Okay, so when you talk about social media and about the connection of humans, It's how you perceive that thing, because you can run ads for only in Cupertino, right? You can run ads only in Cupertino or only in Fremont, and you can run ads and telling, hey, look, I can help you with a no closing cost, no fee loan, right? Please come to my office, right, and eat a donut and share a cup of coffee and discuss how I can help you, right? So it still goes back and forth, because you can connect people even in social media. You can use social media to drive face-to-face meeting. And I'm sure even today, a lot of you guys are here, and whether from emails, phone calls, even YouTube or Facebook, right? We all connected via social media somehow, okay? And in the end, it's how we utilize social media to connect people. And I think a lot of these networking events in general, they use social media to do the initial advertising or whatever it is in the discussions, and it ends up being the person-to-person. Okay, and I don't think social media it's not gonna always be there. It's always gonna be there, but how you use it will change. But it's always gonna be kind of like a tool that everyone's gonna use to connect networks.
This is great. Any other questions? Shall we call it the end of this panel? I would like to applaud to this exciting panel, all the great speakers.
Thank you, Peter, and thanks all the panelists for the great discussion. And we learned a lot, and all of us. Everything's changing, but no matter high tech or low tech, nothing can replace human touch. So next is our human touch time. It's also a network time, and so the organizer prepared some refreshment outside there. So it's 30 minutes. Please come back after 30 minutes. Thank you. On this section, second forum, we're going to discuss about will robot and AI replace you? Where in the future business opportunities? First of all, we're going to invite a keynote speaker, Chico Wu, to the stage. And Chico is an entrepreneur with over a decade of hands-on engagement in the EDA field. As a design captain, Chico led PyPilot design division to record growth by focusing on value creation, pinpointing challenges caused by manual process. He co-founded Footprint Pool to increase representation of active automation in hardware design by harnessing robot and adaptive learning in hopes to transform EDA library development. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Chico Wu to the stage.
Thank you, Diane. So my name is Chico Wu, and when they first asked me to give a talk about robots and how to help jobs and employment, I said, sure. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, should I really be doing this? Because my company focuses on using more robots, more automation. And then I said, anyways, what's the worst that could happen, right? Maybe next year they'll replace me with a robot up here. So we're seeing robots everywhere. Right? We see robots at home, our kids' toys. We see robots in our manufacturing workplace. I even have one of those robot vacuums that runs around the house. So it's something that's part of our lives that's inevitable, and it'll be increasingly becoming more and more of our daily routine. So today, I'm here to talk about robots, automation, and something that I call digitization. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask this one question. Do we think that less automation equals more job opportunities? No. Which could mean more automation is less job opportunities, right? Now, to help us answer this question, let's take a look at an early example of automation. So, ATMs, automated teller machines, right? Cash dispensing, cash withdrawal machines. They were first deployed in the 1970s. Now, banks have been around long before that, but in the 1970s, there were 250,000 bank tellers. By 2016, that number doubled to 500,000 bank tellers. Wait a minute. So, more automation machine equals more employment? Yes. And the reason is because banks realized that the overhead cost to open a branch became much lower. So it gave them the ability to open more branches and more branches throughout the country. And whenever you open another branch, you have to employ people. So it was a net gain. How about another example that's a little bit more recent? So by now we all know that robots have been used in automotive manufacturing sector. But did you know in the past few years, here in the US, 60,000 robots were installed. And this 60,000 robots, during that same period, there was an increase of over 200,000 employees hired in the automotive sector. And it's not just here at home, it's also happened in Europe, specifically in Germany, where they installed 90,000 robots. And at the same time, they had an increase of employment, hiring people, 90,000. That's a 1-to-1 ratio. One robot, one more employee. So what we're learning is that the routine tasks are becoming automated. And it's not entire jobs, not entire occupations being displaced. But in fact, what this does is it optimizes the efficiency, and that allows us to elevate the productivity of what we're doing. Now, when we have elevated productivity, our cost goes down. When our cost goes down, we create affordability. Affordability allows us to have a byproduct of growth. Now, growth comes in a variety of different forms, but I think one of the most important types of growth is a new job category. Now, software engineers have been around since the PC, right? Decades and decades and decades. But ever since the invention and adoption of mobile devices and other smart hardware, a new demand for app developers emerged that didn't exist before. So in 2006, there were 2 million app developers. In 2016, there were 12 million app developers. 2 years from now, that number is projected to grow to 14 million app developer job opportunities. That's almost an average of 1 million job developers per year, all because of automation, creating efficiency, creating new job opportunities. And these app developers, they helped one of the leading bakery cafe restaurants, which I frequent a lot. They didn't pay me to put this, by the way. They built an AI-powered platform to launch this delivery service. Now, this delivery service is going to cover 40% of their stores, and I think you can guess what I'm about to say next. In order to support this new delivery service, they need to hire thousands of new people. 10,000 people just for 40% of their stores. So, we've talked about automation, we've talked about robots. Let's go back to this digitization that I mentioned earlier. And to really understand digitization, let's think back 15, 20 years ago. When I filed taxes before, I remember I had to collect tax documents, bank statements from a variety of sources, and then manually go through each one by one, read each line, and then handwrite the amounts onto my 1040 form. And if I made one mistake, then IRS has a happy day. That was before. Today, with more and more advanced tools, all you need to do is just a matter of clicks, and all those tax documents, all those statements are aggregated and consolidated together in your system. essentially minimizing that physical paper. Very advanced for this industry. Now you would think that with more automation, perhaps the job outlook for these roles, the accounting roles, have reduced. But on the contrary, job outlook for the accountant is projected to grow at 10% over the next 10 years. Now this 10% is the fastest and highest growing percentages among all occupations. So it hasn't displaced this industry. What about my industry? So I come from the hardware design background. What about this? It's a very slow, very tedious, very time-consuming, and not to mention very costly industry for creating hardware product. Every iteration takes time and a lot of money involved. And the reason for that is because we still use paper and PDFs to connect the semiconductor to the circuit board. Why? Well, the reason is it's because every single component, all of these spec sheets are provided in a PDF. But you can't take a PDF and go to a factory and say, hey, build this for me, please. You can't take a PDF and go and design it. What if there's a better way of doing things? There is. Digitization. That automation process, earlier I mentioned, that allows for computers and systems to talk directly among each other. Now, to help us create this digitization solution, we created levels of digitization, starting with no digitization, which is this manual process. It's fully people-powered, but of course there's limited throughput and limited productivity. The next level up we have is semi-digitization, augmenting people, giving them more tools and more advanced utilities to give us that productivity gain. And then finally, we have smart digitization, which is this fully automated structured data exchange among systems. Now this is where we have that net gain. Think about that ATM example I mentioned earlier. More automation, more productivity, more employment. This is smart digitization. So I guess what I'm trying to say is robots are becoming more and more part of our lives. We should not be afraid of automation. We should not be afraid of embracing this technology. To summarize, I would like to express our thanks to SBCACA for allowing us this opportunity, for inviting us here. And I would like to introduce you to one of my very good friends, Robot Ku. You may have seen him outside. We created this introductory video specifically in Chinese just for this event. An English version is available on our website at footprintku.com. And again, thank you everyone. 谢谢美华科技商会。
看到这些人了吗？他们正把产品推上市场，并且立马达成任务了。就是因为我亮出富比库的秘密武器，一脚就狠狠踢翻了 EDA 资料库老掉牙的战术。你知道手工打造资料库的这场战争有多痛苦、多漫长吗？还不时蹦出一些烂招来干扰你。只要你点头，我的机器人大军就以必胜绝技大军压境，你便可以专注于创新研发了。机器人大军不但精准、迅速，而且不断的创新招。你只要给他们1-2天的时间，就可以收到线路图符号、电路板零件以及3D 模型。最意外的惊喜是，机器人大军随时都在云端，呼之即来，挥之即去，这真的很酷，对吧？任务越多，胜算越大。富比库。
Even though it's a commercial, but very cool. Thank you, Chico. Thank you for the wonderful speech. So we have next keynote speaker is Wei-Fu Xu. Wei-Fu was the founder and corporate vice president and general counsel of MediaTek Inc. He joined MediaTek in 2003 and has since built up the MediaTek legal department to become one of the largest and the best in Taiwan. And Mr. Xu was named as one of the top 100 most influential and innovative counsel in the Asian Pacific by Legal 500. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Wei-Fu Xu.
Thank you, Julia, for inviting me to here to have a talk, sharing my some thought about the AI and the law. And of course, the topic of this talk will be will AI and robots replace lawyers' work. We'll see. Okay, let's go over this my slides and see what's my thought. That's my thought. A lot of things is starting to happen. Is still evolving. But the change will come. But will AI really replace lawyers' works? And my opinions may be not that fast. So let's go over my slides. All right. This is I have this picture is from the template. It looks a little bit surreal because AI sometimes it's not real humans, right? So it's a little bit still surreal to us. And all right. So is it a real paradigm shift? A lot of people say AI bring a true paradigm shift. It will change, but how much it will change? How fast it will change? But I think that's the questions, right? So I personally don't feel that it will be that fast because let's think about the attributes of AI. First, AI, most people say AI is kind of the cognitive computing or machine learning technologies. The machine can, through their computation power, they analyze so much data, so they can learn from their experience. They accumulate their experience. They gradually gain some wisdoms or intelligence of the machines. And then what the primary was doing is for the data analytics. It was kind of transform the information to become database. And then from database, a step forward to become a data stories. It started to have those pattern recognitions and then started to figure out what's the patterns, what's the story behind the data. So that's the AI was doing. It made logical decisions, and it can be extremely efficient compared to humans, machines. Yeah, machines do things can be much faster than what we are doing. And then, on the other hand, what lawyers doing? To be a good lawyer, let's look at some attributes of lawyers. If you want to be a good lawyer, the following characteristics you probably need to have to be a good lawyer. First, you have a very good communication skill. That's critical. Your oral skill, your reading skill, your presentation skill, your listening skill. That's important, right? Because if you do not have this good communication skill, it will make it extremely hard to be a good lawyer. Make some judgment. Some judgment. Okay. AI makes judgment, right? Machine can make judgment. But here, I use the sound judgment. Because as lawyers for more than 20-some years, sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, sound judgment may not be the most logical one. Yeah, machine, because they have no feelings, they have no emotions. But we're people. We're people. Sometimes you make some judgment. You want to do this, you want to do that. It's not because this is the most logical things to do. Sometimes because you have some feelings, you have some emotion, you have some love, enthusiasm. So good lawyers make sound judgment based on lots of factors, some pros and cons, and of course you consider logic. Of course, that logic is also part of the judgment decisions. But it's not, lawyers make judgment doesn't really just like machine make judgments. It's just based on purely on logic, purely on data, because we are dealing with people. We're not dealing with machine or dealing with just data. And you have to have good analytical skills. Your interpersonal skills, you have to be good. You have to have the understanding, empathy, compassion, trust. All these factors will affect you, whether you are a good lawyer or not. And then your creativity, your research skill, your strategic thinking, all these are important. All right, so compare to AI and lawyers. So does anything will change? When change happens? Of course, change will come. But I don't think it will come like something, just happens overnight or very quick. I personally feel back to 90s, in mid-90s, when I was a young associate, I was in the big law firms. We have some old partners in their 60s or 70s. Those old partners, they don't even know how to use computer because they were trained when they were in 40s or even 50s. At the time, there's no computer they can use. So those old partners, lawyers, we have every lawyer has a detection machine. They say something, give it to the secretary can type it out. But now, probably if you go to the law firm right now, you see basically every lawyers on their desk, they have 1, 2, or even 3 computers before that, right? So back in 90s, I started to hear a lot of people saying that, computer replace lawyers' work, just like today. And some people say that when AI replace lawyers' work. I haven't seen that yet, okay? But remember, the change, the space of change will be faster, okay, compared to before. Our generation, our generation, we see so much changes. Our pace is faster than a generation ahead of us, our parents' generation. In our lifetime, we see so much change. And in our parents' time, they already feel their change is faster than their parents' generation. And so our next generation, I think the world will change even faster, right? So the pace will be faster, but I wouldn't call it a revolution. I would rather call it more like an evolution. Because revolution means you have to change something fundamentally within a very short period of time, which I don't think lawyers, when they do the legal work, will change that fast. It will facilitate the way of practicing law in the due diligence, data analysis, scenario prediction, strategized approaches, reduce the need of low-level or standardized legal skill. We talk about automations. So yes, some standard things will be some low-level legal skill will be gradually replaced by more automations and improved efficiency. And some kind of peripheral service industry, outsourcing, landscape researching, and there are a lot of the companies surrounding the law firm right now provide all those outsourced services to law firm. So these industries were booming. But the lawyers, I don't think the law firm's structure used to be like a pyramid. In the future, you will see the law firm structure maybe a little bit more like a tree. Okay, so when I was a young associate, we have probably 10 associates surrounding one partner doing one project. But right now, we only see 2 or 3 associates working with one partner because of these automations. So the law firm structure will be slightly changed because of these automations. And low young associate job will be kind of reduced a little bit. Okay, and lawyers, but fundamentally, how lawyers practice law, I think that will not change that so fast because lawyers tend to be a little bit more risk aversive. There are still a lot of uncertainty involved with the AI. Okay, I'll be very fast. 1 more minute. Rule, regulation, policy constraint still limit a lot of legal practice because we're talking about ethics, privacy, social inequality concerns. Because AI possibly will increase the gaps in tangible system, value, culture, virtue, emotion, social justice policy. These things are difficult to quantify. People are emotional animals and often not that rational. And lawyers are in the people business. So a lot of those people's interactions, experience, those matters when you're practicing law, litigations, negotiation, family law. It's hard to imagine that you have a robot or you have something you put in front of a court to argue a case to a judge because you are dealing with people. People, they have emotions. Any decision will affect people's life a lot. And in negotiation situation, true. Different people, different personalities, when they decide what to do, it's not just exchange the data. When you practice law, it's more than exchange of data. There are a lot of your judgment involved, a lot of your approach. Yeah, so I wouldn't say AI will replace the lawyers, but it will help the lawyer to make some decisions. So my final quote is, I have to get this quote because I think it's good for this AI stuff because a lot of people are worried about AI. We know Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking. They say that AI is the most existential threat to humanity. So I found this quote from Toynbee's some famous words. Material power that is not counterbalanced by adequate spiritual power, that is by love or wisdom, is a curse. I think we see that is happen a lot in our history. That's why we are doing the works, we always consider things in a more social sense. So I think this is a lawyer, why lawyer, well, probably a little bit slower to adapt this AI technology than other industries. All right, so this is my email. If any questions, you can let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Wei-Fu. Thank you very much for the wonderful speech. So there will be another panel discussion moderated by Peter Xie again. I like the way you make this tech panel sound so entertaining. Okay, so Peter Xie is a general partner of Asian Pacific, ACOM Pacific Ventures. Let's welcome Peter Xie, and he's going to invite his panelists.
Thank you, Diana. It's me again. So we have 4 panelists. Wei-Fu and Chico, please come up. You are the keynote speakers. And we also have Kai and Peggy. Please come up. Oh, Peggy's here. Okay. Sitting.
Why not?
In order.
You cannot take my seat.
Sorry. So this is your seat.
So how many seats do we have? Peggy, we need to move one more. Just move forward. Do we look like alike? No. Anyway, so I think just as last session, why don't we start by the other two speakers who have not made an introduction to themselves. Peggy, would you mind? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Peggy Fong, and I'm currently the CFO, COO for a company called Gachu, which is an e-commerce company, and it's class 4 e-commerce, and they're focused on selling aftermarket auto parts. And I'm also a vice chair of a company called Last Mile Company, and they are also doing the last mile delivery for the same day delivery or next day delivery, and type of platform company. I was former CEO, CFO for Fetch Robotics. It's a robotic company, and they're doing autonomous robot, logistic robot like a Kiva. I don't know if anybody familiar with Kiva, but they are not, the Kiva someone is non-cooperative. They actually still have a QR code on the floor, but it's an autonomous robot. And similar, do the same thing. And so that's, so basically, and before that I was in the Joan, the GPS, I don't know anyone have that. I was the president for Joan GPS. So primarily, so I have a...
The company's name is Magellan, right?
Yeah, Joan GPS. Anyone? Yeah, so that's kind of my background. So that's basically it.
Great. Hi.
Hi, my name is Kai Chen. I am the founder and CEO for Untitled Chapter. I'm glad to be on the panel list as a representative from the financial industry because almost everybody else is from kind of high technology. I spent 15 years on Wall Street.
You're saying I am not?
Oh, that's right, you're both. So I spent 15 years on Wall Street, first at Goldman Sachs and then at Credit Suisse. So I've advised public companies, billionaires, and venture capital funds on investment strategies. And I feel that our industry is dramatically impacted by AI and software, and humans are losing to the machine. We're being killed.
Really? Okay, let me see how I can moderate this panel. Now that I know my lifespan is limited, I better do more business with Julia.
You're still safe.
Let's start with Peggy. Peggy, if you don't mind. We have two keynote speakers who talk about automation, and if I may actually dissect that into two parts. There's another, I'm going to show off that I read a lot of books. There was this book in Chinese called 左手曾国藩，右手胡雪岩. Has anyone read that book? Okay, if I may show off a little bit even more. Zheng Guofan was one of the highest ranking officers in the, I think, Qing Dynasty, right? Yeah. He actually was, from the book's description, was actually not that capable. But he's very good at interfacing with people. Hu Xueyuan is very sharp, but he doesn't, he's a deal maker. But at the end, even though Hu Xueyuan was very, very rich, but when he passed away, there was not even money for his family to buy a coffin for him. So one is the extreme of being a person who knows how to 做人. The other is the extreme of someone who knows how to 做事. And what Wei Fu just described is 做人很重要 because of the line of legal industry. It's a human decision. And what Chico was describing is actually the line of automating something that nobody really wants to do, right? So it's 做事. Yeah. So if I may turn the microphone, and so for Maggie, you started out at Cynics and helped them manage all the margins, which is a lot of number crunching, a lot of squeezing, and then you went to Magellan, which is replacing the passenger side driver, meaning my wife, so I don't need to guide me for GPS. So if you can talk about all these observations that you have seen in your career, and why are you in these two companies? in advertising. Those are both Acorn Pacific's portfolio, and she's helping us a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention I was SVP for Cinex for their financial operation.
Right.
And Cinex is, I think, quite a bit quite below Cinex. They are IT distribution, one of the third largest in the world, and there's some people here from Cinex. They are, IT distribution is extremely operational company, very low margin, high transactional type of company. So therefore, you really, because it's extremely high operation, so you need to be, it's a really great, it is actually a typical company, and if you can automate all your processes, it's a process company, it's transaction, if you can automate all that, then you can be successful. Okay. So Cinex is one of the few companies I think in this valley really focus on automation of the process. And they're not the typical process of the engineering. It's really they're replacing the human automation process. So they're really successful for that. And that brings up their SG&A, so their operation costs down to somewhere below 3%, which is the lowest in the industry. And they're in the
gross margin is only about 5%.
5%. So therefore, the net profit is only 1%. When they actually reduce 1% or 1% lower SG&A than anybody in the industry. So that means they can have 1%, not just profitability, they actually put it in competition. So that allows Cinex to grow at double digits for $1 billion, $1 billion to $7 billion in a 5 to 6 year period of time. So that's how the automation has helped that company tremendously.
Did you kill a lot of jobs during that period?
We actually didn't kill any job. The company gone from 1 billion to 7 billion. There's no job reduction. We actually transferred tremendous job into China, which is the area we couldn't automate. We actually go for lower cost. So we create more jobs globally. And in the US, we grew about 5 to 10%. We didn't grow as fast, but we didn't reduce any job. So that's the next. And talk about Magellan. Magellan is a GPS company. And that is, you're saying, they actually taking map. Traditionally, you take a map. You go anywhere else, you gotta take a map and read a map. And you can write down, turn left, turn right, turn this, turn right. And the GPS actually absolutely replaces replacing, and they actually will talk to you, turn left, turn right, do all that, with all that. So that is a tool. So both company, that's a technology giving the human, giving the consumer such a new technology, new automation in a way. And giving you, so allow us to do so much more to go to all the places you want, don't get lost. So both of us are very successful, and both create also a tremendous new job.
Great. So you've been through the cutting cost part and also the automation part. What does this current endeavor look like for you?
Okay, current one I can talk a bit more. The two companies I just mentioned, and plus the one I have done is Federal Buy. Federal Buy is probably the leading logistics Thomas will do a lot of the work. I can say it's actually value. So the GoTo is cross-border e-commerce. We had e-commerce last session. And so what we do is we actually, it's not just the e-commerce. People know about e-commerce, last session talk about. The portion they actually make GoTo a little bit different, and is we actually use the big data. We're doing a lot of automation currently, and doing something similar like the Cinex have done. Automates a tremendous job because we got so much data. When e-commerce time versus we call the IT, the traditional channel time, you think about all the e-commerce data is in digital already. They're digitalized already. You don't have to collect them, convert them. Actually, it's there. So therefore, you can do so much more in e-commerce work. So I actually right now we're pushing so much on the analytical part of big data. And so for that, we figured out what's the pattern and what is good thing, what match to the product. And we do auto parts, aftermarket auto parts. But auto parts have what? Not just have the parts, we have the model, the year, the type of brand, and what can mix with what. And we even do a lot of mixed bundling. And so that is because how different people have different type of car. So therefore, that is a tremendous big data, which we call it, you can call automation, to figure out, to tell you what we would, so hopefully machine can help us to figure that one out, and automate it to knowing what our consumer or our customer might want, okay? Consumer or a customer they want, before they sort of that, because it was not existing, so we make it existent for you, such as I have headlight is going to be replaced. And we kind of know if you want to replace one, because the model year you're in, you may want to both replace, even if it's just one broken. So therefore, that's a part we're trying to figure out. So just a boring auto parts, and that big data was trying to figure out what are you supposed to do to put a bundle together.
During this process, are you killing jobs? Same question.
We have not killed any jobs, okay, and I believe we will, by growth-wise, we will grow. I have to say one thing. When I say job, you kill job. If you're looking, say, do I kill a particular job? I think we will. Okay, and that's what I'm going to make sure. That I know the one just that Chico did, which is telling I didn't kill a job. But what I think of the job, you won't kill the same job, but you may create different jobs. Such as everyone knows, in the store we have mall, right? It used to be you go to mall, people buy stuff on mall. And right now, Amazon, you don't buy stuff on mall. So you kill the job in the mall, people in the store. But what do you create? Right now, you create so much of a shipping clerk, shipping people, delivery people, because it used to be you go to the store, buy it. Now those jobs goes away, but what do? You order, but you don't order a full pallet. You order one piece by piece, so you create so much more of the picking list warehouse people. Now you create so much shipping. That's UPS. That's the last mile company I was in. So now they're doing last mile bundle to put the driver, so turn a regular driver, just you, anyone, and now you can deliver. Go to warehouse, just turn. Now I have time, just like Uber driver, I have time. I go delivery, and you create so much driver delivery job because now we need the same day. We can't wait. So you become frequency so much higher. So that is the type of job you create, but you're taking away the mall people job. So you're not. So I want to clarify. You might kill some job, but you create different type of job.
Okay. Can we wait until Q&A? Jackie, thank you. Interesting, I recently also bought another book called How to Not Drive Uber When You Retire. So I think that's an interesting topic for people to also read. Kai, I understand you used to work for Goldman Sachs, and when I met you, you were actually working for CSFB or somewhere, right? And you are actually engaged in the business of working with high net worth individuals or family offices. But now you also run a fund. I think a part of that is also servicing these existing clients of yours. But in the world of stock trading, there's one very hot term called global advisor. Yeah. Care to mention for business in your original business, does robo-advisor kill that part of the job or some lower paying trader's job, and now you're migrating to doing private equity in a more major way? How does this whole thing affect your line or your visibility in the financial industry?
Yeah, I think if you think about the job of a financial advisor, it's basically talking to the investors about the risk tolerance, the investment objectives, and then they run an asset allocation model and then select different funds.
Define that clearly. When you say you talk to investors, who are these investors?
They're private clients.
Right.
So there's tens of thousands of financial advisors out there. But if you think about their job, the process of opening an account, making a trade, everything can be automated. So the robo-advisors really rise in the last probably 5 years or so. Instead of hiring 10,000 financial advisors, they hire 50 engineers. And then instead of talking to the customers, they send them emails. And then they use their mobile phone to open an account, to make investments. And when the stock market drops, instead of the financial advisor calling you to tell you not to panic, you get an email or text message and say, oh, don't panic, because the stock market always recovers.
And that's kind of cold, right? Did you get complaints from your clients at that time?
So I do see a lot of young millennial clients, technology clients, really enjoy this really fast and cheap way of managing money. And they have been growing really fast. So robo-advisors manages about 200 billion. So it went from almost nothing to 200 billion.
In 5 years? What's the growth rate now? Do you know?
So I think
just guess.
Probably doubling every year.
Wow. Okay.
But the interesting thing is, so financial advisors need to figure out ways to justify kind of their value. It's not just selecting mutual funds or asset allocate. because a lot of that could be easily replaced by computer.
But the building of these models, are they like rock solid from your perspective?
Actually, I think the computer could do a much better job than human. So most of robo-advisors hire a Nobel Prize winner to do asset allocation, versus most financial advisors just run on very cheap software and do a very simple mean variance optimization. So typically, computer would do a lot better job.
And is that why you're coming into my line of business?
Absolutely. So
maybe you can combine the two.
Yeah, maybe I'll expand a little bit. So what we found is in the financial service industry, whatever is homogeneous. So think about clicking a button to buy Apple stock. That could be easily replaced by a computer. And actually, with the index funds, you don't hear money managers beating the index anymore. It used to be that you hear Bill Miller from Lake Mason that would beat the S&P 500 for 10 years, but over time, S&P 500 beat him too. So most funds are now managed passively by an index, so that's extremely cheap. So the only way for financial advisors to add value are actually in your categories to travel in the private markets, where it's still primarily relationship-based. Good opportunities are offered to select few that knows the right people and have the right connections.
Still some type of a relationship and information arbitrage, basically, right?
Yeah.
But now that you're stepping into my side of the working territory, how do you use your previous skill to do what you're doing now? Because in our line of business, the exit is like 5 years away or 7 years away. And your client previously may only allocate 5% into private equity, so it's very different.
Yeah, so what we feel like as a family office, multifamily office, we're not venture capitalists. We don't have the capability of venture capitalists. So instead
don't worry, we have zero capability. We only know how to do moderation here on stage.
So yeah, venture capitalists are always thinking about the future. They're connecting. They're understanding a very niche technology market. But what we could do is actually we could leverage them. So we invest with Intel Capital, Microsoft Ventures, China's Fosun Group. So when we have a relationship with the top venture capitalists, we just piggyback and co-invest with them or find pre-IPO opportunities that's available because it's due to the relationship with the issuer.
Right. Yeah. In our business, actually, relationship matters. And if I may just go through Wei Fu, you mentioned that a lot of legal work cannot be replaced. Let me ask you this question: Do a lot of lawyers need to drink wine with their clients?
Not really. We don't really social with clients because.
How come I had a lot of occasion drinking wines with?
Well, that's kind of those are social events.
Right.
If you are in a social event, yes, you can invite your clients to come over, but it's kind of not because there will involve a lot of ethical concerns. Okay, there we have legal ethics, and you have to be very careful about what's your relationship with your clients.
Of course,
because you should not cross some boundaries of limitation. Sometimes it can be to some extent be some friends, yes, but you still have to be careful about how you manage this friendship. You shouldn't sometimes because once you become a friend, occasionally it also affects your judgment. Right? So when the lawyers are kind of involved with some kind of their personal relationship with the clients, usually we are very, very careful about this friendships developments, and we try to have very clear boundaries that there are something we shouldn't touch. Right? Otherwise we will be in trouble. So yes, we did occasionally social with the client, drinking and some lunch, but not very often.
You know what I'm getting at, right? Because in order to win business, or sometimes everything is square or circular, but in a snap second, a business owner's decision may decide to give in or continue to fight or say, fine, I'm okay with this term. But as far as I understand, it's not only in the Oriental society, but also in the Western society, these decisions happen. I trust that Kai is nodding his head, and I trust, meaning when your company went IPO through all these M&As, you see a lot of human behavior, yeah. And so there's a fine line. I have a lawyer friend recently came to me who said that, Peter, I've done so many things related to Asia deals. Now, originally I felt gray is okay, but now it's too gray that I cannot even decide whether I should cross that gray. What do you think about all of these, and how do you bundle that thinking together with AI? Can AI replace that part? I'm asking you. You're the only legal person here.
Well, as I said, AI is very good at analyzing the data, make logical decisions. So if you are facing some situations, AI can collect all the data, which may be way beyond a single person can manage, and analyze what's the best approach, and probably give you some strategic ways of thinking. But to some extent, I still see a lot of the people, when they make a final decision, sometimes they make decisions based on instinct during the negotiations. Sometimes, okay, you want to give or take, because I've been through so many negotiations, a lot of time give and take happens very, very quick, very, very quick. But sometimes, whether should I agree to something or in exchange of some other things. Sometimes we call it instinct, but AI may be able to help us to prove that instinct is correct or not. That's true, but still, we are still in a business. People are still the one really make final business judgments. Sometimes people have their personal opinions, personal emotion attachments, whatever it is. So sometimes I still think that AI is the great tool to help you to make decisions, but eventually people still the one really make the
I agree with you. It's impossible, for example, if I'm negotiating a contract with Li, I'm using it because I know you well, I know you don't mind. And I said, Li, wait a minute, let me check with my AI to see what then the whole dynamics changed, right? So that's almost impossible. Well, on the other hand, when you are driving a car with Magellan's GPS, you cannot say, wait, after I pass the intersection for 1 second and say, hey, turn right? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, but let me ask you, Chico, I'm about to follow up. I invest in a lot of semiconductor, fabless IC design houses. I have not invested in PCB design or anything related to that matter. In semiconductor design, these companies, typically we have lots of capable engineers, but on top of that, we also have someone called architect or several of these. What are you trying to replace in your line? Do you think an architect one of these days can be replaced in your line of business? It's really hard to mingle them together because these people are all doing different business. Only a venture capitalist who has been around for a while can do this, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
So with actually in the semiconductor field, a lot of automation is in place. A lot of artificial intelligence already in design. In fact, in the semiconductor field, there's more higher advanced tools being used in comparison with PCB design.
So let me give some background. I'll help you a little bit.
Sure.
It used to be in the late 90s when we invested in these companies called EDA, that's called Electronic Design Automation. There are a lot of companies, including larger ones, included Cadence, Synopsys, and Avanti. Later on, Avanti was acquired. A lot of the exit opportunities of all the startups of EDA are to be bought by one of these three companies, and now you only have two of the largest left. Similarly, in the world of FPGA, very similar. Intel bought Altera, you only have one standalone Xilinx now. In your world, is automation like in the late 90s or automation like semiconductor is today?
In my world, we still use technology that's 15, 20 years ago. So the board design technology has not caught up yet. But going back to your earlier question as far as architects,
right?
So automation, I believe, will not eliminate anything that has to do with creativity. To echo Wei Fu's presentation earlier, as long as there's that emotional aspect to it, artificial intelligence will not be able to overcome that or come close to that, because people are always learning, always evolving to a different creative platform. On the other hand, anything that's that repetitive, that mundane task, which people don't want to do, but is a necessity, those are the opportunities that we see.
Yes. Let me direct the question back to Wei Fu, because on the one hand, I think AI is going to replace something in the law career, but on the other hand, I think it's actually preventing us from creating great lawyers, because a lawyer needs to, after law school, needs to start doing paperwork and read lots of documents to create his insight, her insight, right? And if those things are being replaced by computers, how can you grow from someone who charges, say, $120 to someone who charges $2,000? That ladder climbing and experience, I think, is important. And where can that be replaced? Or you think the job that you have already enjoyed previously at Media Tech can no longer be replicated?
Well, that concerns me is a very valid concern. Actually,
I'd rather make $2,000 an hour than $150, right?
Yes, and you can see that the demand of those younger associates are not because if you see the legal industry over the last 10 years, you see there are so much words still coming up because the world is constantly changing. So we have a lot more new legal words, but the number of the younger associate increase is not as the size of the work that actually has been done.
I'm not sure I understand you.
Because I think the law firms, for example, there's one big law firm, they used to hire, they say, 60 or 70 new associates every year. Right now, the number may be lower a little bit, down to 40, 30, because we have some automations that happens. Because when I start practicing law back to some 20-some years ago, and we lawyers, those young associates are always doing those very tedious works, right? Like document reviews, due diligence. In a litigation situation, we are hiding somewhere in a warehouse. You have hundreds of boxes of documents. You have to go through and review those documents and pick those whatever information which is useful for you. But right now, AI actually can do a much faster, much more efficient way, and then what human we used to do. So right now, I think the needs of those younger associates is kind of like maybe reduce a little bit, maybe replace those younger associates. So your question is about
should I encourage my kids to go to law school because those mundane jobs are no longer going to be there, right?
Well, it will not completely remove those young associates,
but the numbers will decrease.
You will get more competitive for those younger associates.
You're using the right word, competitive, not reduced.
Yes,
very nice lawyer.
They get more competitive to try to get into the law firm, try to get those opportunities. So the competition will be higher. Okay, so I think this is because the AI take away part of those young associates was doing. But your concern is actually a concern of many law firms, because if young associates
you don't train them,
do not really go through this process, will they really gain the experience or the way of try to formulate it to become a good lawyers? They will. I think eventually they will. But it will still put more pressure on them because they have to learn faster. They have to be more creative to try to model those senior associates what they learn. So I think the young associate, those new young associates probably will face more pressures in a law firm than what we were back to 90s or even before.
Go ahead, if I may, Peter. Of course. So I believe the industry as a whole.
You mean any industry?
Any industry as a whole, the majority of industries, I believe, will benefit from automation and AI because it allows us to level up. It allows people to learn new skills, learn new tools to make their work more efficient, which is a benefit overall across.
Would you characterize people as like 90% lazy and 10% that really are curious enough to continuously improve themselves, or the other way around?
That's a trick question.
I'm a venture capitalist, not a lawyer, so
I think,
do whatever you want.
I believe that if people have an interest in something, whether it's their personal interest or employment, work, whatever it is, that there's no laziness involved because that's second nature. It's their own drive.
Audiences here, including the panel, I think are all high achievers. Otherwise, we would spend a Sunday or Saturday here, right? Yeah.
Maybe I just add some comments from some lawyers that there were some lawyers, very senior lawyers, that were joking with us and saying they are still very enjoyed back to 30, 40 years ago when a client have a question, they send a letter to you and you write something, you send a letter back then. In between, you have some free times. But right now, guess what? The email is supposedly get everybody's much happier, right? Because you got the information instantly. It's so much more convenience. But guess what? Lawyers I probably receive 100 to 200 emails a day, and some of my friends at law firms said this client keeps sending the email and they want the answer instantly. So I receive email at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and the client actually expect me to respond at that time. All right. So does email really make us happier? This is a good question.
So you actually need to use a software. One of my portfolio, time for advertisement, is being used by law firms. Whenever they open your email and read it, it starts clocking. So it's billable hour. Right?
True. We started clock. We started to collect fees from clients, but client, they don't care. They just want you to give your opinion to them. They want the answer immediately. While back to some old lawyers say that, well, when a client asks you some question, call you, and they say, okay, I'll give you the answer next week. Or so when they send a letter to you, then you don't respond to the letter in another week.
Okay, let's forget all that. That's too much. I hope you don't mind. But I still want to make friends with you. Kai, in your line of business, does junior associate not easy getting more and more competitive to get a job here?
Well, I'd like to touch on the lawyer. So, so one of my clients wanted to set up a corporation. So I referred a lawyer, said, hey, why don't you call this lawyer and set up a corporation to do cross-border business? Instead, the client went to LegalZoom.com and set up a corporation for like $100 versus $2,000. So there's a lot of these more kind of routine, contractual type work. Set up a trust could easily be replaced by AI.
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember there was this video by a famous venture capitalist pitching DFJ, so that's Draper, Tim Draper, talking about blockchain. He said he likes to invest in anything where you see a lot of people are having a good life. So who spends most of their time in like Palo Alto Four Seasons Hotel? It's the bankers, it's the lawyers, right? A lot of those people. So people like to invest into companies that try to address those sectors such that those people do not get to enjoy that because they're enjoying too much money. And that's where the inefficiency is. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'd like also answer your first question.
Yes.
So my brother still works at Goldman Sachs.
Yes.
And he was telling me the compensation on Wall Street has probably dropped 70-80% over the last 10 years. So back in the days, I think the average bonus at Goldman Sachs kind of per employee was like $600,000 per year.
And you made 10 times of that at a time?
And as a partner, they could make tens of millions.
Yeah.
And now that time has gone. Like a lot of the efficiency in index funds, automations, computerized trading really cut down the margins of these Wall Street firms.
Sure. And Peggy, what do you think in your line of business? Do people used to enjoy very nice like company outing to the Caribbeans, and then later on it's just a trip to a restaurant in Fremont or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it includes AI. I think just sort of
We're talking about automation, how that changes people. Yeah.
So I'm not sure that. So I think automation-wise, I kind of wanted to just address. I think the clerical job, repetitive, very entry-level clerical job, it is being replacing. I do not think like an associate attorney or I can't speak for attorney to say like or sort of an entry-level, non-clerical, more of a say project manager, financial analyst, accountant. I don't feel those being replace or become competitive. I think it could be competitive in the way you requirement you want what you want it to do. I don't feel jobs less. Such as I think legal was just replace a lot of clerical. So is it. A lot of clerks be replaced. At the same time, I think like legal work, right now we have such a privacy issue. Such digitalization, which is related to AI, related to these. There's so much new law that we create. You need research, you need establish. So you need associate to research, you need a lot more to create new law or new type of investment, such as investment. Yes, you are a lot of Wall Street, we call the big guy, making a lot of money in the past. So you service only limited people, rich people. But today, because of the robot able to provide, so people, anyone, they're so minimal. And China, the middle class worldwide, is all opening account. Invest in stock. That's why look at the stock market, how much growth they have done.
In terms of volume and
In
dollars,
terms of
right?
volume, so the people participation of that is so huge, so much. And you don't, yes, there is a machine, but you're actually creating that much more. So I don't feel, so we don't need those big people with big dollar anymore because it's not that we're taking away a lot of knowledge already, right? But still, you're creating a lot more job. You distribute the wealth differently. So is our industry. I really see that. I don't feel repetitive was going away, you create jobs. And also addressing the way Fu's saying, I get email, 200 email, I make more money, I answer, I charge. But I'm not happy because I don't want to answer the 1 o'clock at midnight email. And people expect me to answer same day or same hour. That expectation is the efficiency. So therefore, what's machine more and more? So what kind of job do you think we should create? Creating, making us human. Regardless of automation, robot, AI, it's really to service the human. So the human's unhappy, so human will be happier. So what type of job will create? You want more entertaining? Art will coming out, more music, more art, even more philosophy. Our philosophy is 2,000 years ago. We have the Confucianism, Wu-Jia, and Greek, all this philosophy. And that time, the human doesn't have automation. So our moral, our standard, our culture is even today is the same. But with digitalization, with robotic, look right now, privacy coming out. And there's no more hiding. Is that okay? Moral is okay or not? So philosophy, that's a philosophy, that's a moral. Moral is to say, it's okay, you can know everything about me, there's nothing wrong with it. If that's a moral today, then people will be okay. So all these things need to be recreated, and that is not, I keep on saying, it's not the same job. Same job won't be replaced. I can't say that it's not. It's being replaced. But you're creating job, may not even think of it. So as I said, philosophy, we haven't even had improvement, have any progress philosophy in the last 2,000 years. And things has changed dramatically. More and more robot, more and more automation happen. You don't think our life's going to change, our moral, our culture, what we expected for life happiness won't change. You don't think we need a human to figure that one out? I think so. That kind of job's going to create out. So art, I just say it's gradual progression, evolution, and you will create different kind of job. But still, I don't see the job that goes away, just different kind.
Interesting. So, Kai, are you investing in any AI-related deals?
Yes, I feel like I wish I learned programming when I was a kid, so now I'm encouraging my son to learn programming. So now...
Is that typical of Asian parents?
Your son is probably pretty good at it. So instead of... so I do have the benefit of having the capital to invest in people that are doing AI. So
anything interesting you care to share?
So invested in for example, autonomous driving company.
But these companies take hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
Yeah, and large companies spend hundreds of millions of dollars to make cars drive, and people thought that's kind of like futuristic and a fantasy, but a few years back. But now I think it's commonly accepted, wisdom that we see autonomous drive cars here locally. We have invested in big data companies, artificial intelligence companies, financial technology companies. So, for example, if I worry about, I'm in the financial industry, if I worry about being replaced by robots, I'm just going to invest into a company that makes financial robots as a hedge.
That's what you used to make $6 million. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Chico, on your line of business? The replacement in jobs?
I would like to echo what Peggy was saying. I think jobs are changing, and we all have to learn the next generation has to learn to keep up with that in order to remain competitive with the world. So we just have to embrace these new technologies, educate the next generation, and let them grow and evolve into something else that can benefit society.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I recall a lunch I had with Stanford's director of strategic partnership. He said right now 95% of Stanford undergrad takes computer science classes. So the new generation is definitely embracing the digital world, which is very different from my time.
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there was a report that McKinsey released, and they said that 90% of the jobs will remain in the future and not be replaced by automation. In fact, there's a term that's popular these days called cobots, which is a collaborative robot between people and robots. I believe that's where the direction is headed.
I'm not sure I understand. Is that like the Borg at Star Trek?
I'm not sure if it's that intimate, but somewhere along that line.
Okay. It seems that all the panelists firmly believe that jobs are not going to be replaced. What I think is important is as long as opportunities keeps on being created by several of the visionaries, then they will promote new application and new market. Then it'll always initially be the human that are smart enough to work in that field until automation catches up. And this way will continue going down the road in whatever industry that you mentioned. But the thing that can probably not be replaced is the original insight of an oil painting created by Da Vinci. That instinct of touching humans' mind and heart can never be replaced by robot. That's as far as I feel myself. Yeah. Any other comments that we want to add here? Otherwise, we'll open to the floor for questions. People are all tired. Want me to share 2 more books? No, I don't think that's very interesting. Good. Julie.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It's really wonderful talks. I'm in the financial business as Kyle, and then feel like I think my job's still very, very proud of my job. Even though we still use the yellow pad, we talk to the clients, we talk to the grandfather and the father and the grandkids, we talk about their dogs, their cats, what they love. We can talk about for a long time, and then we can make a deal. So I think robot cannot really imitate me to talk to the parents, the kids. I flew to New York for my client's kids' wedding, and then flew back. The client is touched. When they are touched, they are happy. They want to do business with me. So I understand that a lot of automations, a lot of analytical analysis, I cannot beat them, but I think I can beat them by winning their heart. So there is a 孙子 that in our ancient time talking about 攻心为上，攻城为下. So this is like you need to touch your client's heart first, and then you can use the whole army to conquer it. So the most important is though you don't touch any army, any soldier, but you win them by their heart. That's my 2 cents comments. Thank you. Not yet?
Li Ming made some comments and he said, now it's my question. It's okay, Julia.
It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Well, I think that concludes the panel. Yeah. Any more questions? Okay, David.
I'll just yell. So I had a question. So right now in the venture capital community, there's this big kind of debate going on. What is actually AI versus what is a data problem, right? So we all know that with machine learning and AI technologies, it's recursive, it creates a neural network, but what are you guys actually solving, right? So in the investment world, is it a algorithm to define, or is it actually a data capability? So the ability to garner and capture unique data sets. So I'm curious about your interpretation on that.
That's a question for Peter.
We all grew up learning one language to start with, right? Like, for example, when I grew up, I was learning Chinese. It's unguided learning. It's somewhat but I had to learn it in an unorganized manner. But after I go to kindergarten or go to elementary school, there starts to have some teacher teaching me math or something else. So roughly AI, there are 2 things, right? One is unstructured, the other is structured. So me, as one of the venture capitalists in the world, just a very small person myself, what I think is most of the algorithm, the mathematics are already there. The difficulty is where and when you use that algorithm. Is it real time? Is it in a central processing unit like in a cloud on a server? Or is that AI residing here? To have AI reside here, this guy needs to be powerful enough, but the battery needs to last at least 1 day. But if the AI resides up there, then the transmission speed needs to be there so that it can accommodate lots of communication between here and there. So I think AI is definitely partially there because Google has proved with DeepMind to be able to play chess. But one day, if this guy can be a chess master, then AI is here. I remember back in late 90s, I was a subscriber to Verizon's cell phone service at the time. It used to be if you want to do voice dialing, you call a number in Verizon and read the numbers to Verizon's server. But now when you do voice dialing, it's here. So smartness is going back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes it's stronger there, sometimes it's stronger here. So my statement will be, AI is here today, but it's not going to affect everyday's life at this moment. Yeah.
But I saw the question was the difference between big data and AI?
Maybe
How did you learn to speak Chinese? Yeah, I think I already answered that, but let me try to address that specifically. You need data to learn. When you learn Chinese, you're not going to only learn 吃饭 for the rest of your life. Other people will ask you 吃饱了没, 然后你就知道什么叫吃饱了没. I remember when I was growing up, there are so many signs, street signs on Taipei. 每次我都念成什么什么股份有限公司，因为我不认识有限那个限字，一直到我2年级还3年级，我才认识那个字是限。So these take data. That's one data input that one needs to collect. So massive data collection is important, but where the data resides, either on the cloud or here, it's different. Or the model resides there, data resides here. But think about it. If you pass on all the data to there, that guy will be extremely busy. David, you probably don't want your junior clerk there to every day send you a written report so that you are the person digesting the data. You want his manager to do that, and that's calculation on the edge, basically.
Can I answer the question for you?
Sure.
The AI is really a knowledge base, an engine that was created to solve problems.
I mean, artificial intelligence is gather all the data together. And in any field, they will have an artificial intelligence knowledge base built into it. And that's called AI. For example, the law firm has their AI application because the knowledge engine all built into it. And there's a biotechnology, biotech. For example, precision medicine, they will have all kinds of knowledge base built into the engine. And you could reside in any places. You could reside in a big data center. You're talking about the cloud data center, or you are in the edge computing. So this is it's just a method. But actually, AI is a knowledge-based engine that was created to solve any kind of world, the whole world problems.
Whatever you say, Jackie. Yeah.
So I can.
I have an MIS major. Okay.
Whatever you say, Jackie. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that it's so hard to define. Yeah.
So I can make a quick comment about kind of in investing, how AI outbeats human, kind of like how AlphaGo beats human. So can AI predict where Apple's stock is going to go tomorrow? Like what price Apple will be at? The answer is no. But could AI make money every single day of the year? AI can. It's called high frequency trading because AI could predict with pretty good probability that in the next 0.01 seconds, Apple stock's going to go up a little bit. And using machine learning to just capture that very small kind of spread, that is the power of AI. Humans could not react that fast, could not calculate that fast. But using massive computer models, high-frequency trading firms could make money every single day.
And that also echoes our Monty J's second hand on the chair. It's not just the calculation algorithm, the hardware infrastructure need to be fast enough to support that. Otherwise, you have a bunch of statistician or mathematician, it won't work, right? Yeah. Did you have something to add?
I just want to add, he said the big data versus AI. For my own definition, everyone's have a definition AI very differently. Here and there. My definition of AI and the big data difference for me is AI have prediction. You can predict, you take a decision, predict what happened. Doesn't matter next second, next 5 seconds. They have prediction. They were making decision, predict something. It's called AI. Big data is you take a whole bunch of data and you're analyzing them. You're putting into analyze, filtering, filter, different filter. And then you get to a conclusion, allowing AI to make that prediction and decision. That's the difference between the two. I look at big data. So that's why we don't think today's AI can replace human. It's because you only know the data you have, and you filter all the data into differently. And based on that data history, and you predict. But human have emotion, have a lot of decision making, innovation. There's no data you can filter. So therefore, AI cannot replace, the machine cannot replace human in certain area, like completely replace human. It's because they can only based on the data already you have and filter out. Filter to the point you say, okay, that situation, you will do that. And you're predicting, and that's it. That's what my 2 cents.
Great. Yes, can we take one more question? Yeah.
Thank you for a wonderful panel.
AI company all around the world trying to solve problems in different industries, including healthcare. And I'm very curious about what are the key factors that define the success of those companies, or to predict the success of those companies.
How do you want to take that?
To predict success of the AI startups?
In healthcare industry.
In multiple industries.
Well, in my line of business, sometimes technology, I would say, is only 1/7 of the success factor of a company. There is market, there's someone who can see eye to eye to do business with, there's legal, there's government sovereignty, there's regional behavior of different hospitals, for example. There are hospital buyers who want under table and some that do not, right? There are some are totalitarian, the other are more democratic decision process. So it is really hard to just in a nutshell to talk about what type of AI company will be successful. What I would encourage companies are twofold. One is if you are an early stage enough technology company, think about 2 time slots that you can sell the company. One is when you're still in very early stage, you're selling the company by selling team and technology, but that team and technology needs to be truly outstanding. Well, a lot of other cases, venture capitalists are not AIs, we're not computers, we're also emotionally driven. A lot of other venture capitalists will wait until, or large companies will wait until business starts to rise. There's some certain P&L to be calculated. Then that's fine business. So, in between, it is really hard to sell a company as a VC, from a VC's perspective. So coming back to what you were asking, what is the good thing about AI? I would say initially, definitely would love to have a good team and good technology. It is going to be very difficult for us to invest, for example, $2 million in a company that we know in 1 year is going to raise $100, $200 million. That's very typical of autonomous driving cars companies these days. Initially, even the first round, I saw several companies out of China, right? A team coming from another famous company. First round, they raised $50 or $100 million. But at that time, do you think that team itself is really worth $100 million? It's really difficult. So, in the world of investing, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. But being able to look at the right trend is important. I was going to make a comment for the first session is riding on the right trend. When I was living in China, I missed several big investment opportunities. 完美时空 I missed. I missed 华谊兄弟. I missed 京东商城. When they were all below $50 million valuation. Because I didn't embrace the big consumer trend. I was a hardcore engineer trying to see whether you have technology and so on and so forth. So I made it. So for anyone in our business, including panelists and audience, I would say observe the trend is very important. But you may fail. So in our line of business, it's also a game of statistics. That's my comment. Sorry, a long answer to a short question.
Yeah, that's a great comment. I think I saw a post, Xiaomi's Lei Jun said, the way he invests in startups, people, people, people. So I think for AI companies, same as any startup, it depends on the people starting the company.
Yeah, 所以做人还蛮重要的. Yeah. Thank you. I hope this concludes our panel today.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you all the panelists. 做人最重要. Thank you, Peter. So, Peter, we learned you're multi-talented and with great sense of humor. Thank you. Thank you. And for now, we would like to recognize our mayor from Cupertino, Lily May, is with us. Thank you for coming. Fremont, yeah. Fremont Mayor Lily May is here, and thank you for coming. So Julia has a gift to present to the people who make today successful.
Again, Thank you so much for coming. I really want to see you in our next SVCACA event.